Oh, put the video back up. We're live.
No.
Oh, I guess we're live. Ha welcome back to me and Giant Boxes.
Sorry.
Here to talk about Masters of the Universe Origins. Welcome to the Needless Things Twitch channel. This is my co-host, the lovely and amazing Mr. Beau Brown. He is our resident He-Manologist.
Yes.
But we will be bringing in a very special guest and overcoming some technical challenges to figure out exactly how we're going to do it. But I think this should work all right. We should be okay. So let's see. Phantom Jr., thanks for running the boards again.
You're welcome.
Great job over there.
And let's see if we can't get our special guest in on this conversation.
Hey, look at that!
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on, man? Joe, Beau, Joe.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
If I was doing any better, I'd have to be twins just to handle it.
Oh, man.
So, we are going to be reviewing the Masters of the Universe Origins toy line. And it's something that I think kind of took us all by surprise. Joe, Beau and I were talking before we got on here live, in that we were surprised at already how big it's ended up being. Where were you on this thing before the toys actually started coming out? Like, what were your expectations on this?
Really low. Kind of, and you know, I know it's like kind of funny to say, like, because now I'm like so into it, but I kind of felt the same as when they released the Masters of the WWE universe, and I was like, is this something we really need? Is this like, it feels like we're just like rehashing stuff that doesn't need to be, and if they're just going to, like, we all knew the Kevin Smith show was coming out and that the other Netflix show would soon be coming out, like, why wouldn't we just kind of make that transition to that instead of just kind of rehashing the past again?
Yeah.
Put the screen on Joe when he's talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, re-releasing the whole, you know, catalog of Masters figures seemed like a weird choice.
Well, the whole catalog and then some. Like, they've already dipped into stuff that's not from the vintage line.
Yeah, that came from Classics or 2000X.
Yeah. It was just a weird time for toys, I think, because when, like, that, what was it, like a toy fair that announcement came out, and we're like, they're going to re-release He-Man, and they're going to re-release retro G.I. Joes and re-release real Ghostbusters. It was like, well, you know what? Being a kid in 1986 was great, and I'm happy I get to do it again, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, all of the retro lines kind of hit right around the same time to where we're going into stores, and like you said, G.I. Joe, Masters, like Ghostbusters, all of it coming back. Now, granted, the G.I. Joe, I hate to say it, but is the least of those releases.
Isn't that disappointing?
I think it's a timing issue in the sense that, like, it's 2021, it's the beginning of a decade. Most of these vintage toy lines came out in the early 80s, so we're sitting at, you know, the age of people have reached, you know, 40-ish who were into this stuff.
Yeah.
And so those are the people with money, and that's the market, you know.
And we've got Masters and G.I. Joe both 1982, right?
Yep.
Phantom Jr., can you put two screens up? We want to be able to see us and Joe. We'll get to He-Man in a minute.
I mean, he's the real star of the show here. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. That's good. We'll go with that. That's good. Viewers, if you're watching, tell us what you want to see. We know you're here for this guy.
Yeah.
So, before we get to actually talking about Origins, there's been some news. There's a big occurrence today that we're going to talk about, and that was the Powercon Exclusives.
Yeah.
But before we get to those, I want to talk about those Revelations figures a little bit. We've seen kind of the final product now, what they're going to look like, the first wave, which is, the line is called Masterverse, but the first wave is specifically Revelations. Based on Kevin Smith's Netflix show, which is interesting because I don't think Mattel had specified previously that there would be like themed waves or anything like that. But Phantom Jr., can you pull up the first picture and we'll talk about this guy? It may take a second. This was a little tricky to figure out. We're dealing with all kinds of like things we're doing for the first time here tonight.
Technological advancements.
Where is it?
It's if you pull up the tray on the bottom of the right screen, that blue square. Oh, did you share this? Pull the picture up first.
There's no blue screen.
There's no blue square in the tray at the bottom?
No.
Okay, well, Beau, Joe, you guys entertain the people.
Okay, I was going to get my shirt.
Okay, well,
Forgot to.
Beau's going to get his shirt.
So hi,
Tanner
I'm Joe
Jr.
and we're gonna talk a little.
Give Joe the screen. Joe, tell us a little bit more about your expectations for Origins while we're figuring this out.
Like I said, when Origins was first announced, it was really low expectations. I didn't really think it was something I was going to need or want. And at the same time, I mean, we just had so much like good stuff coming from the Masters of the Universe collections over the past couple of years. I mean, Motu Classics lasted 10 years, subscription based, got so in depth with the characters that you really never would have assumed you would have ever gotten, and they're all done in a highly articulated, highly detailed display. The sculpts and were just phenomenal. I love the packaging on them, and then the pieces that they added around them. The Castle Grayskull was phenomenal. Stuff like Granomir was stupendous. That they were able to do him at that size and that scale was just absolutely incredible. And then for the piece de resistance being Snake Mountain at the end, I mean, did you really need to go so quickly into a kind of a less than toy line of the same characters? And I really didn't know whether we needed that or not, but having the kid in me, when you get to walk into a retail outlet and getting to see these characters back on pegs and back for mass consumption, that's what kind of drew me in immediately right away. And thankfully I was able to get some pre-orders when they were very hard to find in stores for the longest time. And now I feel like I'm in deep. I've been ordering everything. I got a couple holes in my collection that I have to get filled, but other than that, like, I'm all in.
Yeah, I was not all in when.
No, you
I was
weren't.
not when Dave and I first started talking about it. And you're right about the timing. I mean, Origins basically hit right around when Snake Mountain started arriving. So you're getting the last piece of this huge investment that Classics was, just in money and time and space, and then for the last piece of it to be a big space commitment, and then like, okay, now do it all over again.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And Classics, like Classics is like, like the elite scale of Masters of the Universe, and it was like, why? Just thinking about it without even seeing it, like, why do we need to take a step back? Like,
yeah.
And that
but in ways it's not a step back, because you are getting things that you didn't get out of Classics, like action features. Correct. They're cheaper. I don't feel bad about buying some for my kid to have, because I'm not as paranoid about them being expensive and being being damaged. And like, okay, cool, you can have a $15-$12 He-Man and Skeletor, and
you can have this trap jaw, and if you lose his parts, we get another one for $15.
My youngest son lost the Tila. He took the Tila over to his pod house that he was in during the pandemic and lost it in one day. Yeah. But it was also nice to like have him be able to take Skeletor to the pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that in a way that I never would have let with Origins.
Well, and that's the magic of this, is that Classics was not a toy line.
Yeah,
it just wasn't.
Collector's line.
This is a toy line.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And even for me, now I have a young niece and a young nephew, and trying to get them interested. Like I tried getting my niece interested in the Shira Netflix series and stuff, but there wasn't really a lot of merch to go along with that.
Not a lot, no.
There really was. They had that one line of dolls that came out, and that was pretty much it. And
they did a 2-pack of Shira and Catra
at the Comic-Con before the show even debuted.
That wasn't the dolls, yeah.
No, I picked that up kind of out of FOMO, where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to want this, but I have always liked Shira. I've always been a Shira fan. Mm-hmm. So, like, once the show came out and I really enjoyed it, I was like, oh, thank heavens I bought this. But now with Origins, I was just recently sent a box of doubles and, assorted stuff to my nephew. He's about 4 now. And his eyes lit up. Like my buddy sent me a video of
great.
him playing with it, and he had a battle cat and a panther, and he's like, "Oh, look at Skeletor!" Because now the original series is available to watch, I believe, on Stars on Demand. So my buddy's been putting it on for him, and he's been feeling it. So now he's got some figures to go along with that, and now we can FaceTime and talk about all the powers of Grayskull.
Yeah, I've been able to also, and I know that Dave, you do the same thing, where you know because of the origins are so customizable and modular that there's a lot of fun to be had just taking them all apart and mixing and matching pieces and inventing new characters and stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That and we did it, and I did it with classics, but
not to the same degree.
Not to the same degree, and with the same. There's much more fear of accidentally breaking something on the classics, whereas I feel much more confident popping the origins apart because they're designed to come apart better, you know. And the classics never had boots that came off, lower legs that come off. So there's or arms, you know. So there's a lot of fun to be had.
Yeah, for the viewers who maybe don't know, we'll just real quick take a look at He-Man here, and you got the head,
the
hands,
waist, arm.
I mean, it's amazing, and you can get the boots off, but it's a little more of a chore. But you know, that's what we're looking at, is this completely modular little toy that you can take apart, put back. Well, I don't know about that. But before we get deeper into Origins, I do want to talk about this Revelations wave a little bit. Phantom Jr., can you throw up that first picture on the screen? And we're just going to talk about these. So we're getting Skeletor as one of the figures in the wave. This is a sort of reimagined a little bit Skeletor, modernized. You know how they do. Based directly on the new Netflix show. And I don't know, how do you guys feel about these? I think some are more successful than others.
I mean, I think they look good. I don't have any issues with them. Other than the Battle Cat looks a little weird. I think there's something.
Well, I think the idea that Cringer and Battle Cat are the same size is weird.
Yeah.
Because when you were a kid, that's how you had to play.
Yeah.
But it is neat that they've done the deal where it's the Cringer face under.
Yeah, that's cool.
The Battle Cat mask.
Personally, I kind of like this Skeletor. I know it's getting a lot of heat online, but I am open to a new interpretation. I mean, even when 2000X came out and it was kind of drastic from where we had been prior, I love 2000X from the toy line to the animated series, which I think still holds up. Yeah. But I know even that one, so many people have such a problem with it. But I look at it as it's a new interpretation. It's not supposed to be exactly what I remember from being 4 and 5 years old. So I'm willing to keep an open mind and have the series win me over and try to fall in love with these the same way I've fallen in love with everything previous to this.
Well, and just like with Shira, like the aesthetics should not be what we grew up with or what we saw in 2002. Like, things have to progress, things have to move ahead. And honestly, these character designs are kind of like Beau said. I don't dislike them, but I'm not in love with them, and I think it'll take seeing the stories and the characters in action.
And I think that's fair. Even with and we keep going back to Shira, but obviously because it creates precedent. But when the early images of Shira came out for the Netflix series, I was very not in love with basically anything I saw. I didn't know if I liked the animation style. I didn't know if I liked the character designs. That's why I was, kind of on the fence on if I wanted to order that Comic-Con exclusive 2-pack with her and Catra. And it was just one of those things where I'm like, you know what? Coming off where DreamWorks had previously done the Voltron reboot series, which I thought was actually really good. I really enjoyed that. So I'm like, you know what? DreamWorks has kind of earned my trust with this. And I'm going to give it I'm not going in there to hate it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to start watching something with all that negativity in my mind and go and just looking for reasons to nitpick and hate everything. And now I feel like I have to give the benefit of the doubt again. Even if I'm not necessarily in love with something, I kind of want to withhold judgment until I have a full scope of data in front of me to give a proper evaluation.
Yeah, and I, in the same way, I tend to go into things wanting to love them. Like, I very rarely go into anything determined, like, I'm going to find everything wrong with this and hate it.
I'm gonna hate this.
Yeah. I like to go in things ready to find a new thing that I love. But as far as this Skeletor, I think it looks cool. It's a solid... Like, I can't see where there's any real departure from the spirit of Skeletor.
It's very recognizable as Skeletor. You're not gonna... It doesn't look like anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, like, especially if you want to think back even further and see from where they went with the original series, the Filmation Masters universe, to where they brought it back in '89 with New Adventures, and, like, that was drastic. And I think with a lot of... Exactly. And
it's unwatchable. I'm sorry. I tried.
It's completely.
I tried to get it, and I couldn't even make it through one episode.
And there's a lot of stuff that I'll watch, like, for novelty's sake. Like, I'll go back and be like, "Oh, this is so corny." Two things that I cannot tolerate are New Adventures of He-Man and the Deke era G.I. Joe cartoons. They're just after Operation Dragonfire. I can't do it.
Yeah, but that was the thing with New Adventures, was it was such a drastic departure where, like, at least with this figure is a very recognizable Skeletor. You look at it,
100%.
He looks like Skeletor.
Yeah. Whether you love the head sculpt or not, like, you still know it's Skeletor. Whereas with New Adventures, you definitely didn't know He-Man was He-Man unless he was in the packaging with 72 font block letters that spelled out He-Man with a big arrow pointing down, you know.
So let's move on to our next picture. This one is the one that sold the whole caboodle to me. Skelegod. Which, if you've been watching Scott Knightlick's YouTube channel, and you should be, you know that this is a concept that has come up before, where Skeletor has the power. And this figure's phenomenal. This is a must-have. I gotta put my glasses on because we keep getting comments and I can't read them.
He looks a lot like the DC crossover Masters Skeletor.
Yes.
Yeah, you get a little bit of that vibe, and also I feel like you get a little bit of inspiration from the live action movie too.
Oh yeah,
Skeletor finally becomes the god at the end of that in his golden suit that we finally got figures of. I guess semi recently too. I'm kind of looking forward. More than anything, what this figure did for me was build intrigue into the show to see how they get to this point.
This was a great teaser figure.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm looking at this, and all they have to do is give us a gold repaint and call it something slightly different, like Master of the Universe Skeletor or something. And I'll buy that one too. So this so far, this is the highlight of the line to me, and this is a must-have. What do we got up next? Mossman. This is the one that I think most people immediately loved, but I'm personally the most torn on.
Really? I immediately loved it. I'm in that camp.
You know what? Am I.
Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just saying, so am I. This was the one that immediately stood out to me where I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I love the design. I don't like the way they've split the colors up because it looks less like swampy and more like we couldn't find matching greens. Like, because the boots and the loincloth and the chest and the shoulders, like, they're all, I would honestly rather him just be all green.
I think the issue with keeping him all green, especially with, I believe that his left hand there, which is shooting the branches right now.
Yeah.
I believe that changes out, and I think I don't have any inside information. This is just me trying to put a theory together. Is with the success of Marvel Legends, by keeping him the same color, you almost run into him just being thought of as a green Groot. And at least this kind of gives him a little differentiation. For the people who aren't familiar with Masters of the Universe but still see this on a shelf, and there's almost like no brand confusion.
The design looks fantastic. I think my issue is just the way the paint apps are done. But again, once we see him in motion in the cartoon, we see how his biology works. We see, more about it. Then we'll get used to this is what this Moss Man looks like, or I'll get used to it. You guys love it, and that's great. What do we got next? The man himself, He-Man. Let's zoom in on that face.
The face is always the first thing with every He-Man figure.
Right?
Yeah.
Because body-wise, loincloth, muscle dude.
There you go. Boots, belt, bracers.
Even with the loincloth in this, I don't know if this is an absolutely finished product here, but his belt and loincloth look kind of exceptionally large for him, while the chest harness kind of feels a little small.
It does look a little small.
And also they're going with the almost the battle damage H now instead of
they're doing that instead of the Iron Cross. Yeah, they've been trying to slowly get away from that over the years.
Well, that was
try to make that H really the He-Man symbol.
Yeah, even in 2000X they did that, where the Iron Cross figure was like a variant that came with the what was it, like the Bastion Beetle or something, and they tried that weird looking, it almost looked like an asterisk in 2000X. But at least with this H, believe me, I'm not going to lose sleep over an H instead of an Iron Cross.
No.
But at least this H kind of holds true to the old Battle Armor He-Man. And
it's a legit H from He-Man.
I like this design a lot. I think he looks cool. I find the heels on his boots a little odd.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until you mentioned it, but yeah.
I don't care. It's just weird. But I'm a big fan of this design. His face, again, we're going to have to see the character, get used to him, get used to this version, and I'm sure it'll be fine. Because if you look at the 2002 He-Man, or 2000X, whatever you prefer to call it, it's pretty similar to this.
Yeah.
And I got used to that.
Well, of course, those figures had the crazy... It really looked like this the whole time. Right. All of 2000X guys are like this.
Yeah, look, Joe. Hey, zoom in on Joe real quick.
Yeah.
We've got for our viewers.
Super strange neck.
There he is.
Super lean, taking his protein shakes.
That guy would have trouble backing a car up.
Yeah, I mean, I know how much people hate on this line, and
I love it. I love it. It's sitting right over there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, love it. Love is. I like the parts of it that I like. It had a lot of repaints, as a line.
The other one that fell over.
Oh, that's fine. He'll live.
No,
but even with this new He-Man head sculpt.
All right, let's move on. Evil Lyn. Now, I like this design a lot. I like the long white hair, because that whole white hair Evil Lyn thing has been a thing forever. Classics, we got the alternate head with the white hair. I think this is a great look. It's just not the most exciting look, but it's Evil Lyn, especially with the alternate head, which, do you guys, that alternate head, is that pretty much just the Classics head? We don't have a picture of it here, unfortunately, but have you guys looked at it?
I would say it has to be. It's probably close.
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar. And apparently, from what I've seen, now I don't have the Rise of Evil 2-pack. Joe, I believe you've got it.
I do. I can go.
Lucky duck.
Have you opened it or not?
I have not opened it because
I don't know if I would.
So my rule for collecting this Origins line is, originally I was going to keep everything mint on card because I've always been a mint on card collector. But so many of the figures that I pre-ordered were coming in absolutely mangled, thank you Walmart shipping, that it's just like, as a mint on card collector, I couldn't justify saving those boxes. So I had been opening everything, and now I have adjusted my rule to keeping one each of every He-Man and Skeletor mint on card. And with Rise of Evil, I've only been able to grab one up to this point. So if I get another one, then maybe. But I also don't feel the need to open it because even when I finally have these all displayed and put up, I don't know where Keldor and Cronus would quite fit in the grand scheme of things, since there would have to be like alternate timelines invested in the same display, and that would confuse me.
It's worth opening just because the Skeletor parts are quite good. They've had enough Skeletors come out now, like Classics did, where you can kind of make your personal favorite Skeletor now, because he's got the booted feet or the monster feet. You've got a couple of different shades of armor now.
Well, and the armor on the Rise of Evil one looks much nicer.
Yeah, it's got the green bat symbol on it,
but
much like this one.
I was
with Joe, we're like
basically the Lords of Power armor, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I get one of these, I'm going to be real hesitant to open it up.
If I get two, I'll keep one in the box, which I would. If I go to the store and I see two, I'll get both.
Hopefully,
if I see three,
one to me,
then I'll give you one to you.
All right. So,
but speaking of that Evelyn, I wanted to weigh on, and I feel like she's a little Avatar looking, just in her costume design. She looks a little more like Last Airbender than He-Man, because she has pants, which nobody in Eternia wears. Don't be ridiculous. We don't wear pants in Eternia.
Yeah, and
Eternia is basically like Florida, but in space.
Yeah. It's balmy, man.
Space Florida.
It's balmy.
Now we need an alligator character. I guess Whiplash is as close as you get to that.
Close, yeah. Caligars are pretty close, too.
I think the pants... Well, here's the thing. Initially, I thought the pants were a side effect of sort of the time we're in now. Like, we don't want a pantsless lady on the shelves, but they've got Teela and Evelyn, and this is a much more kid-specific line, too.
And we've seen the art
I don't know.
for Teela. We've seen the screenshots of Teela from the show, and I don't remember if she has pants.
I don't know.
Anyway. There's a shot of Teela and the one like with Roboto in the cloak, and Evelyn.
Oh, Skeletor. Oh, interesting comment here. Skeletor boots versus monster feet. I'm a monster feet guy.
Yeah, I like both. I think that there's room for both.
Yeah,
because I have so many different Skeletors now that I can.
You can have as many as you want.
Yeah, but I think that definitely the boots work for Keldor.
Oh, well, yeah.
If you're just playing Keldor.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe? Boots or monster feet?
I kind of agree where Keldor boots and Skeletor monster feet. But once again, it was one of those things I never even thought of, like, as a kid. Like,
right.
Like, it was just, like, I didn't understand what a variant was until I was probably 30. So... like now when I see people pull all these things out and it's, here's the Leo Faker and here's Red Rib Hordak, and I'm just going, what? So I'm just like, I'm always just happy to have one of anyone. And, as long as I think it looks fun and cool, like I've really never looked too much into detail with that, which is funny because now with the options to customize all your figures and pop parts on and off, like, to me, that almost sounds like sacrilege. I'm like, no, it didn't come like that. Hence, I can't put it like that. But
I actually had to fix up some of my figures because I have swapped out heads and stuff, and I was like, oh, wait, I don't have the right head on this He-Man anymore. I want him to look right. And I think this is even the Prince Adam head, because I believe the hair on the He-Man head is too orange.
I definitely appreciate breaking all of the Origins figures up and making characters and everything. However, it doesn't take me very long after that to be like, I got to put everybody back. Yeah. Which is also I find kind of cathartic. There's something I think cathartic about having all of them all mixed up and just sort of, okay, here's the pants, here's the body, here's the sword, and reorganizing everybody.
I think as a kid, it would be something that I would like think is one of the most amazing things ever. Like when the Modulock came out, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know, but since that was the point of the figure, was that you could make, you know, however many different designs with those pieces, like that was like super cool. But at the same time, it becomes okay, but which one is the actual Modulock?
Right.
And I mean, that's how I felt with it anyway. And even with this, had I have, you know, with having the opportunity to play with these figures now, and even as a 39-year-old adult, that some people would question, but like you said, I do have my fun with it, but then it becomes pretty quickly like, okay, they got to go back to their original forms now.
That's interesting concept on Modulock there. Like, what is
default?
What is
Modulock?
default Modulock?
Yeah.
I would say for me, 4 legs, 2 arms, 2 heads.
That's pretty much what I go to as well. And the thing that really screwed with my head over it was when Super 7 released the reaction Modulock figures. And I was like, what do you mean he's standing upright? Like, that's it? Like, this is this what it's supposed to be?
I felt the same. I felt the same way about the Club Grayskull Modulock. I was like, what's the point of, you know, of...
I don't even know what he was.
He's a Filmation, like, right out of the cartoon Modulock. And he doesn't come apart. He's got 2 heads and 4 legs and 2 arms. And
but he didn't come apart in the cartoon, did he? In the cartoon, he's just another
scientist
person.
Guy, yeah. I don't know if he did or not.
All right, well, we're gonna move on to the next one. And there's the Battle Cat we were talking about before. Okay, I love this design. I love the armor. The cat looks fantastic. I hate this shade of green. I think it's horrible.
Maybe it's just... Is this the same problem you have with Mossman?
Maybe I just have a problem with toys being the right shade of green. But does this look off to you guys?
I mean, it's a little light. Maybe you think it should be a darker green.
I guess I've got that green stuck in my head. Because Classics Battle Cat... Well, and... Look.
And Origins Battle Cat.
That's
darker,
very different green.
Maybe it's just the photos.
And it could be the photos.
Greener in person.
I mean, to me, the thing that really stands out on just first glimpse is the toenails. They look very like jagged and long and like
savage toenails.
Yeah, like, and when he's not wearing the Battle Cat armor, like Cringer looks a little too vicious for me because of the nails.
Yeah.
But just with the head sculpt itself, I like it because it feels like this may be the first, like, once you remove the armor, you have a Cringer. And I don't think anything has ever... Exactly. Nothing
an articulated Cringer.
Yeah.
Well, and as far as the size difference goes, because that was my issue, is Cringer's smaller than Battle Cat.
Yeah.
But this is...
In the future.
In the future.
Yeah.
Maybe Cringer's grown up.
Yeah. Yeah, I can like it.
Yeah, he's put some miles on, so, you know, it's got a little paunch now.
A lot of battles.
Yeah.
Got a petty.
And do you know how hard it is to clip a cat's nails?
Not easy.
Yeah. Especially one that can be basically shot with the powers of Castle Grayskull.
Yeah, they've done a good job with the Cringer head and the Battle Cat head. I'm
it's an interesting choice. That. And another example of, well, why do we need another toy line? We've got everything. Well, here we go. Now we've got an articulated Cringer. Never had that before.
Yeah.
Never had a God Skeletor.
Skelegod. All right, what do we got next?
That's it, right?
That's it. So we're going to move on now.
Moving on.
So who got, show of hands, who got their Powercon exclusives? All right. We are truly some dedicated lunatics. Now, Joe, did you get everything?
I got everything because I decided that I will be attending Powercon this year.
Oh!
So
you got yours last week.
I got mine last week. I bought my ticket.
I'm so jealous.
I was actually talking to Ravishing Robert from Mattel, and right after these photos released, and he had messaged me to see what I thought, and we were just going back and forth, and I'm like, Powercon lands the weekend of my 40th birthday,
Oh, that's beautiful.
And what better way to spend it than amongst my fellow nerds and geeks while just fanboying out over He-Man. So he's like, dude, if he's like, you gotta come. You would love it. He's like, it's great. And I was like, you know what? Screw it, I'm in. So the second they went on sale, I grabbed my weekend pass and all the exclusives, and I'm ready to go.
Oh, well, so you got all the exclusives. So you got like the pins and stuff too.
I don't.
Or just the figures?
I just got the figures. I didn't go and get everything. I just got the figures. I tried going I've tried to go to Powercon in the past, and for anyone that gets, I always make this Hanging with Mr. Cooper reference when it comes to me and Powercon. It was like when Hanging with Mr. Cooper wanted to go see the Harlem Globetrotters, and then there would be like some kind of act of God that would keep him from getting to the game.
Yeah.
So I've tried to go to Powercon a couple times now, had tickets and stuff, and like there would be like a hurricane coming through Florida, so all flights out would be canceled, and I'd get stuck, and I'd be like, oh no, like it happened again. But hoping third time's a charm.
Well, here's why we never get to go to PowerCon is because it lands on the weekend after DragonCon.
It's always either the weekend before or after DragonCon, which I can just never do, except in 2020 when it was a whole month away from DragonCon. And I was like, I can do this. I got my flight. I got my hotel room. I had everything figured out to go to PowerCon. And then the world fell apart. And I didn't get to go. And PowerCon's back in 2021, the weekend after DragonCon. I bought shoes. I bought the Dungeon Great shoes to wear at PowerCon. And I almost wore them over here tonight. I almost wore them over tonight.
If you had worn them tonight, you would have to put your feet up on the table.
But I did not, because they shall not be besmirched until it is time.
You can't pop those shoes cherries until
not for just the podcast and the Phantom Zone.
No, I understand. Believe me. So let's talk about these exclusives a little bit. What we're looking at right now is the Castle Grayskull, I guess, expansion pack.
Sure.
To me, this is essential if you've got the Origins Castle Grayskull.
I think it's essential if you have the Classics Castle.
No matter what. Fair.
Because, I mean, the Dungeon Grade is scaled specifically for the Origins Castle, but the robot and the Spirit of Grayskull will look just fine in the Classics Castle.
It'll be a tiny robot, but it'll be fine.
Only slightly smaller. It's not cardboard.
It's not cardboard. That's true.
I'm kind of surprised at how many people are excited by this, because upon first seeing the released images, I was just like, what am I missing? Like, I really like. I'm like, I don't get this. I don't understand what it's supposed to be. I don't understand why this has come into existence. I'm going to order it because I'm just, that's
I don't know what this is, but I'm buying it.
Apparently it connects to something I already own, so I feel like I need it. But I'm really surprised so many people are excited over this one.
I disagree. I think everybody would be excited about the robot, and especially specifically the robot. The Spirit of Grayskull is a lot more niche.
Here's why I'm excited about the Dungeon Grade. Is because my dumb self put my Dungeon Grade sticker in upside down. So I need to cover that up.
Still with this tentacle.
Nobody will know. Don't look at the sticker. Look at the tentacle. But yeah, this was a really cool kind of extra piece, and I guess the standard price seemed very reasonable. What was it, like $30?
$30, yeah.
Yeah,
which granted, that's not what it was on Big Bad.
I thought all the exclusives this year were very reasonably priced, especially compared to everything last year, where not only did you, and I understand like Lords of Power was 5 figures and the really cool display case, but then you also got hit with like, what was it, like $75 just in shipping on top of that, which was just brutal. So I was actually really happy to just grab everything and feel like I kind of made out with a real deal this year.
So next up, this is the one that made me like almost openly squeal with glee, because I'm a big fan of Faker, So Faker's great to see, and we're going to get him in the regular line.
Oh yeah.
But then, for Faker to have his
cat.
own cat,
Yeah.
duplicate,
It's awesome. And with new sculpted parts, it's not
new
even
head,
just a straight repaint.
new forearms or whatever.
And then it's a specific nod to a variant Faker.
Oh, is it?
It's the Leo Faker.
Toys, yeah.
Yeah, Joe knows what's up.
Yeah, this is actually one of the most sought after Faker variants. The Leo toys as a whole are pretty sought after by the people who are interested in those things. They're I want to say Leo toys was the India production.
It's the same as the G.I. Joes from oh gosh, I can't remember what they're called right now, but it's like they use the molds, but they paint them completely differently.
Correct. So there are a lot of these figures out there that PKNC says Italy. Oh, Italy. Oh, that sounds.
Oh, nice.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's a nice Italian Faker.
Is it the same as the
Fun School G.I. Joes?
Dark Grizzlor?
Oh yeah,
is that a Leo variant?
We all love this one, right?
Yeah, I like the way we've never had the Havoc staff in orange. Faker has never come with a Havoc staff before, so that's cool. And he's got those purple boots that look really cool, which I don't think other Fakers have had. Those purple boots. It's all been orange, right?
Yeah, no, they're purple, aren't they?
Where's my Faker?
Yeah, I think Faker's got purple boots.
Hold on, I got one right here.
I don't have a Faker.
I got my my vintage Faker.
Right.
It's got pretty purple boots, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, mostly it's the eyes. It's the black sort of domino mask eyes with the red pupils. And the black bracers is new.
Yeah, I was gonna say those like axe and smash demolition gauntlets that he's got going on.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the final Powercon set. Now this one to me, look, it's great. I don't need it. These are all going to get mainline releases, and for the price,
just $50 a figure for figures that are normally 12 is
15.
Steep. 15 is steep. But I think it's cool that the Horde Troopers are going to break apart.
Yeah,
that's super cool, and you can see the buttons on them, and so we'll get a regular colors Horde Trooper in retail. And then Dark Grizzlor, not to be confused with Blackface Grizzlor, which is not appropriate. And then Filmation Hordak with the arm cannon.
See, this is the one that really stood out to me. Like, this was the one I wanted most. This 4-pack. I love the Horde. Like I said, I was always even as a kid, I loved the original Shira series. So these characters meant a lot more to me than most people who had already stopped and left that. Eternia, Etheria universe by then. So getting a Filmation Hordak or origin style as well as the different color of the Horde Troopers is like super cool to me.
Yeah, I dig them.
Well, cool. I think that covers all of our photo images. So Phantom Jr., can you bring our regular... There we go. And we're just going to start taking a look at these toys. Now, we have...
Well, do you want to start at the beginning?
Oh, yeah, I guess we should start at the beginning.
All right.
Fortunately, Mr. Beau Brown is here because I do not have any of the beginning. Because initially, I wasn't even going to buy any of this.
I've been looking for the beginning for a while now, and the price.
The beginning is not easy or cheap to acquire because I did not get it in the moment either because it was a San Diego. It was the San Diego exclusive, and you could not. They did not make them available.
Correct.
You had to be there.
So what are we looking at?
So this is the He-Man Prince Adam box set that was the first. So this is like the King Grayskull of classics, the very first toy exclusive that launches the line. So you've got this beautiful Castle Grayskull green box here with by the power of Grayskull. I have the power with the power harness, and then you open the box.
All I really remember about this set is that He-Man has a knife in his boot.
Yep. It is the knife boot.
Need a hand there?
Oh.
Yep.
And then...
Oh, wow. Look at that guy.
So then that pops out to this case, which has this cool... And there's the Spirit of Grayskull right there.
Oh, yeah.
This slipcover. So you've got Adam, Mini Comics Adam, and then He-Man and Adam there, new for 19. And then that's cool. And then when you open it, I like how the sword separates the halves of He-Man there.
Yeah, that's a nice little touch there.
Yeah, it's very, very nice.
I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try and help us out. You're good. Keep going.
And so then it's got a raised textured castle here and logo. And then you open it up, and it's like a comic book, which is super neat. And has a little story of, and how they've worked art into the window. The Skeletor here looking at Adam there, and Adam's posed with a background. And then you've got some comic here of Skeletor encountering Adam. And then that flips. And then you've got the classic scene of getting the weapons from the Green Goddess, just like in the minis. And there you go. More, you got Blonde Tila.
So, let's take a look here.
So, the differences here is, from the regular Reese, is different colored loincloth.
Different colored skin, for sure.
Different colored skin, yeah. Much tanner in the box. He's got the boot knife. I think that's... And does he come with a sword? Yeah, he comes... This is the only place right now to get the full power
sword.
That's not in half. Until that next Target exclusive.
Right.
So just beautiful. And then these pages pop out really easily.
Oh.
And then, so this is how I have it displayed at home. Is up on the shelf open like this. With the box behind it. And I took these out. So, but
that's
really
beautiful.
great set. Awesome cloth vest on Adam. And even the hair is a little different color. He-Man's hair is a little oranger than Adam's. And no boot knife. So there you go. So that was the very first. And it's like, oh, it's Prince Adam. I'm Skeletor. I'm going to go get him. Oh, I'm Skeletor. He-Man. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, I think.
So yeah, really, really great.
Really good.
And all, I have to say, all of the Origins exclusives have been very collector friendly in the boxes. They're built for display. They're built to keep in the box. They're built to be able to pull out of the box and then put back in without destroying anything, which is fantastic for collectors. So that's the very first one.
Now, Joe, you've got Lords of Power, right?
I do have Lords of Power.
And so here's the Lords of Power, which is in the box that's like the old collector cases.
Yeah,
travel
okay,
cases.
that's why that looks so familiar.
That's what the shape is. And covered again with gorgeous art. Lords of Power versions of everybody.
Now, originally with
this, look at that.
Display case, the original plan was to make it a vinyl case, just like the original. Yeah, and they just couldn't get it to work from a cost perspective. And that's
that makes sense.
I still think it came out wonderful. I love it. It was one of those things that I didn't realize how much I enjoyed until I had it in my hand. But I mean, this thing is just beautiful, to look at.
Yeah, look at that. Great poses on everybody. Beastman just leaping through the air. Cool jungle background there. Merman's over here, and it's very different.
Look at the deco on this guy, the shoulder pads.
The
Those
shoulder
nice
pads
Braun
are cool.
Strowman shoulder pads.
And then very, very different, Merman and Beastman from their regular releases. Man-at-Arms, not as different. And then He-Man and Skeletor. He-Man, not really any different, but then very different Skeletor.
Yeah.
You got the monster feet, but the unpainted toenails, totally different shin guards, different armor, totally unique head that we've never really seen before. Very, very cool set. And I'm leaving this one in the box too. But it's built that you can just pop the window right out, and they're not. There's no like ties.
Oh, they're
So
not
you
like
can-
rubber banded in.
No,
there or
you can
whatever?
pull them right out, do something, and if you can get them back in the original pose, pop them back in there. So I have much respect to the designers for making the boxes so collector friendly.
That's incredible.
And I think that's probably something Mattel has been looking to do across all licenses pretty recently, because you've
Just
also
leave that
seen
right
them
there
do
as our
that with
background.
the San Diego Comic-Con Mr. T in the WWE line this past
Yes.
year. You know, the same
That
kind of
VHS
window
case.
box. Yeah, where you could pull it out, put it back. So, I mean, if that's what they're going for, I appreciate that. Like you said, as a collector, it's perfect for any way you want to appreciate your figures, whether it's keep them loose and then eventually put them back to store, or whether you just want to have them displayed while in the box. They give you such a nice display piece to have it for that purpose. And it's still just really, really well done.
Absolutely. And then the other Powercon exclusive last year was the 35th anniversary Shira. And this is an incredible example of that same thing that we were just talking about, but not in like a case. As a figure, the back plate slides right up.
Oh,
And
that's
out.
like Mythic Legions.
Yeah, just like Mythic Legions. And then it's this beautiful comic that's basically, got Shira origin story. You got Temple of Darkness Sorceress there, Marlena, and then even one of the fashion outfits for Shira. So that's a real deep cut. And then a really nice diorama here with the toy Fright Zone.
Yeah.
And Claudine, Catra, and then.
And I think what makes me feel good about this line, or one of the things that makes me feel good about it, is anytime they put stuff in the art like that, I have a feeling
It's coming.
like it's coming.
Yeah, and you can even see here on this Mantenna how he looks kind of toyish.
Yeah.
With the mechanism with the eyes. So that'd be cool to get Claudine. I actually have a vintage Claudine. It's in terrible shape. But and then you got Grizzler there with the sort of bigger, scarier hands, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to getting these
All of
characters
that.
and origins. And then on the Rebel side, you've got a very sort of stuffed animal looking cow there,
And
then,
Lookie.
and Lookie there, and then Glimmer and Beau, and the weird, look at that Beau, no mustache, long hair. It's a real interesting take on
I
Beau.
I need my Beau to have a mustache.
Yeah. Do you like the mustache on or off?
And
Bad.
as you mentioned, the Fright Zone and the Crystal Castle.
Crystal Castle, yeah. Very cool. So once again, and this just pops right out.
Oh, and she's got the actual hair.
She's got the actual
rooted
rooted hair, which is
Yeah.
how she's different than her regular release and the fabric clothes.
I was gonna say, I think that was the other difference, was the soft good clothes, right?
Well, this one's got a soft goods. Yeah, she's got soft goods clothes. Yeah.
Oh, the whole thing? Oh,
Yeah. She just doesn't have the rooted hair.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, she's the same.
But didn't come in this nice.
But didn't come in
package.
this very nice package for display.
Which we're not fooling anybody. Nice packaging is a big portion of why we buy collector's items and exclusives.
So I'll be
as much as I
interested-
open everything, like when I see stuff like this, I can't help it.
Yeah. So I'll be real interested to see what the packages for this year's exclusives look like. If they
right.
continue this trend of being more display pieces and openable, I think that would be really cool.
I would imagine so.
I hope so. And then I have another thing.
What the heck?
So a friend of a friend was like, "Hey, you have a friend who really likes He-Man, right?" And I met him in a Target parking lot, and he had this misprint card for me.
This Roboto variant.
Roboto variant Zodak. And there's been quite a few misprint production errors in this line. but I had never actually seen one in person. So even unpunched there, and it's got Roboto
I've
on the back.
found more of these unpunched than not, because
Yeah.
it seems like they open the cases up and just jam them onto the pegs and don't bother punching out the hole. Joe, what has your experience been?
That's everything I've seen has been similar. Where even if the tab has been punched, it's still loosely hanging on, where you can kind of just finagle it back in and make it look good. So, but I have been seeing, I think what a lot of it is too is from other people I've spoken to, who are basically like trolling the Targets and the Walmarts, waiting for the employees to bring them out. I don't think a lot of the figures are actually making it onto pegs.
Yeah.
I think so many
They're
people
getting
are
scooped up.
Yeah, they're getting scooped up just as the cases are open. So, that's why we're only seeing He-Man and Skeletor and Battle Cat.
Yeah.
But hopefully, and I keep seeing like Ninjor. So they are coming back in. It's not like some other toy lines where it seems like the store gets in a case of a wave.
Well, that's how it is
that's
with the Keldor.
Well, yeah, which is a whole.
They're
other
getting
thing.
like 3.
We'll get to that in a minute. You've got your Roboto over there, and I don't keep a lot of these meant on card, but Trapjaw is my guy.
You got a Trapjaw.
And this is a good spot to start, because I just wanted to take a look at the packaging here for the viewers. For the listeners, sorry, you're out of luck. You should have watched. But the packaging is absolutely gorgeous on these. Yeah. It's the vintage style packaging.
The busting out.
And then on the back, everything is done in a very, you've got this gorgeous artwork.
Yeah, this line, the artwork has just been amazing.
Yeah.
And then bios on every single one of them. There we go.
Well, short
bio and then a
very
description.
short bio.
Well, that's like a blur. That's what the
to
original line had.
Right, but compared to classics where the bio was...
Well, Scott Knightlick's gone.
And I think the
he's not gone. He's just...
With
classics,
well, you got to remember, Scott was trying to tie together literally every area that has, whereas the mini comics didn't really go in tune with the Filmation series, which didn't go in tune with,
New Adventures.
Scott was really trying to use the classics line as a way to make sense of the entire Masterverse.
Yeah.
And with Origins, that's not necessary.
Correct.
Yeah. This is it's Origins. It's a fresh start.
Yeah,
but we have the cross sell, which is missing from so many modern toy lines. It drives me crazy. I hate picking up a figure, turning it over, and it's like 18 different languages and a picture of the figure, and that's it. I want to know what else is in the line. What else is in the wave? I love this.
I will say one of my big things as a kid was G.I. Joe figures, when you had the, say, like 64 different figures on the back, and I almost would use that as a checklist as I would open it up and then I've got the Viper, I've got the Bat, I've got Dr. Mindbender. And same thing with He-Man figures. I've got Evil Lyn, and okay, now I'm just missing the Tila, and I'm good to go. Okay, let's rock.
I mean, look, the cross-sell stuff is nice to look at, but it's a marketing tool.
Yeah.
It's you let the kids you create that FOMO in the kids, that anticipation of the next thing.
And even my 5-year-old, we've done that. We look at the back of the box and be like, we have him and we have him, and he points at them and knows their names, and so it's good to have this there.
Well, it's time to get down to it. We've already taken a look at He-Man, a bunch of He-Mans, and we have to consider sort of his companion figure is Skeletor. Oh man, Skeletor's little suspenders came undone.
Oh no.
His pants are gonna fall down. This is gonna turn 18 and up. Nobody wants to see the. Okay. Okay. Have you guys had any issues with them holding their accessories?
Yeah.
I've had a couple of hands that have been a little too tight, so I have to kind of wiggle my way in to get them to hold them originally, but nothing really too hard or too difficult.
My problem has been once I get it in their hand, it's almost like it loosens the hand up, and it doesn't like to stay anymore. So we have here, it's kind of a default good Skeletor. A lot of people hated the head. I love the head. I feel like that's sort of a cackling Skeletor.
I like the head too. I had no problem with it whatsoever.
But he's the right color. His purples look good. He's got his Havoc staff. He's got the half power sword, which isn't awesome. We'll do this here since we're here. They plug together better than the vintage ones did.
Which did this.
Which this sort of still does this, but it's better than it was. But that's it's a toy gimmick. But I want like a regular power sword.
Yeah.
Which we will get eventually.
Yeah.
If you can get it from Target.
Well, yeah. But I think Skeletor looks great. I have zero complaints. I think he's awesome. You guys pretty much in the same boat on him?
Yeah, and this one has the monster boots, and the monster feet and the monster arms. Yeah. And the bat. That's not colored.
And the cool thing about these two guys is you can walk into like any store in America right now and buy them. Because they're their own separate sort of wave, just to have extra pegs for Mattel. Whereas the actual waves are a separate thing. Now, Joe, how did you originally get these? Did you walk into a store and get them? Did you buy them online?
Both actually. So I had them pre-ordered from Walmart, but then I happened to come across just those two, He-Man and Skeletor, and it was just the fact of being in a retail store and seeing them on the peg, and I was just like, how do I say no to this? So I went through a couple, grabbed the best looking ones I could find, and said, all right, we got He-Man, we got Skeletor. And I think I bought something like 4 different Skeletors from like the first wave, just because like I'd get excited just seeing them there, and like
just to see it.
Yeah.
Was, you get the flood of memories rushing back for like I remember being at Toys R Us when I was 3 years old and like running away from my mom because I knew where in the store the He-Man section was. So like she thought she lost me, but like I knew where I was the whole time, just looking up at that wall, and it was because even when like a wave would come and go, it felt like it never left the store. Like it felt like even a year later you could still get a Buzz Off, or you could still get a Cyclone, or
it was a lot different then.
It was a lot. The He-Man section was big. It wasn't just a couple of pegs. I mean, it was a whole wall of.
Most toy lines had like half an aisle.
Yeah.
Like if you go look at pictures of 80s Toys R Us, G.I. Joe is 24 feet of the aisle.
And that's just for the USS flag. That doesn't even count the rest of the
One of these days, Joe, you and I are going to get on live, and I'm going to buy a flag.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
Okay, so technically, Wave 1 is Man-at-Arms, Beastman, Evelyn, or Evelyn Powers, if you will, and Teela. Now, the first thing I got to say right out of the gate is there.
Is that better?
That's Teela.
That's Teela.
I am not a fan
of the snake armor?
The snake business on her. And I wish she had come with a sword, but I understand that's not what we're doing here. This is vintage Teela.
Well, you have a sword from your castle, right?
Oh, that's true, I do. We'll get to that in a minute.
Stay tuned.
These were He-Man and Skeletor. I seem to remember kind of knowing when they were hitting stores, and I was keeping an eye out. And the first time I found them, there were tons and tons and tons. So I was like, cool, I'm going to buy these. And at that point, I still wasn't sure I was diving into this line. And then when I started hearing about this wave hitting, I really started getting kind of nuts because I couldn't find them.
Yeah.
And people were finding them. What was your deal? How did you come across these?
I got them in stores. This wave, I managed to find them at Walmart, and I bought 2 of each. One for my son and one set for me that I opened.
which was not your original intention.
No.
When we first talked, you were like, "I'm going to collect these.
I don't need these. I'm good."
And
now I'm buying
for him
2 each. Yeah.
Yeah,
I need another case.
I wasn't planning on it either. I think, and then I saw the He-Man and the Skeletor, and those were really the only ones I pre-ordered. And then I got, found them in stores, and then it was just the first one I opened was the He-Man, and like I said, I'm usually mint on card collector, and just having that figure in my hand for like the first time in years, and it was just like, man, this is cool. And I felt like after that, it was just like, I need all of these.
And once you get one out, and you really get this range of motion and the posability, and like when you're a kid, these looked like that, and that was it.
Yeah.
But now for the elbows and the swivels and just the head joint. I mean, if you look at the range of motion on that head alone, but once you get these out and really start playing with them, it's beyond being a collector and just being impressed, like, man, they're making a good toy line.
Yeah. And they don't feel cheap either. They
don't.
No, and I hate to say this, I don't want to trash this line, but the G.I. Joe retros, when I open them up and I'm just like, wow, there's something about it where it doesn't feel like it used to, or
no, not at all.
It feels cheap. It almost feels like very fragile in your hand. And meanwhile, with these Masters Origins figures, like, I feel like I can bounce them around. They can fight. They can battle. Like, they're not going to just destroy. Like, they're meant to have arms and legs pulled off. Like, it just feels like I can have a lot of fun with these and not worry about shattering them.
And they feel consistent. The plastic all feels the same. Like on those G.I. Joe figures, it feels like they're several different kinds of plastic put together.
Yeah,
these feel consistent. They're great. They're great toys.
Yeah.
So this wave, we get Tira and Evil Lynn, who in the classic style are basically the same figure with a different head and different paint jobs. I was a little surprised they went with the straight up yellow Evil Lynn, but at the same time,
we're already getting
it's vintage.
Well, and we're already getting another Evil Lynn.
Oh, are we? Yeah, I know that.
Purple Evil Lynn, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She's in the next wave.
She's in the next wave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So wait, I saw this on Big Bad Toy Store. There's another listing for Evil Lynn without a picture. There's a Lords of Power Beastman.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do we know how that retail release is different from that one? Is it?
Yes, it is different.
Okay.
And then it's a Faker and
Green Goddess,
Stinkor.
I think is the...
Oh, no, Green Goddess. Yeah, Green Goddess.
Okay, I've got Stinkor and Green Goddess pre-ordered. I didn't do Beastman and Evil Lynn because I didn't know exactly what they were going to be. I guess I should get on those.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a huge fan of jaundiced Evil Lynn.
No.
It's how I remember her, though, because the original figure was that yellow, even though in the Filmation series she wasn't that color. For whatever reason, that's how I always think of Evil Lynn.
She was the only... You were talking earlier about not noticing things when you were a kid. When I was a kid, I didn't notice Skeletor's boots. I didn't notice differences like that. But I sure knew Evil Lynn did not look right.
Yeah.
So, we get these two. They're great must-haves. And then, of course...
The number 2s.
Duncan, Man-at-Arms, complete with mustache, which is different. The Lords of Power does not have the mustache, which the original figure did not have the mustache.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting to me that they went with the mustache on this one.
Well, I think we can all agree that mustache.
You always want the
better.
mustache.
Yeah. But they didn't, and then they were like, "Hey, and we can do 2." And this is how the regular Man-at-Arms release is going to be different from this one.
Right.
Sans mustache.
Right. So armor pieces all slide on. He looks like he's supposed to look.
Yep.
Paint looks fantastic. Let's see. I'm going to try and get a little. I tried to get the HD camera here, but you guys get the idea. You know what Man-at-Arms looks like. He looks like this.
He looks like a space conquistador.
Yeah, that helmet is something else.
I just think for a wave one, like they pretty much nailed it with absolute like people who are pillars of the universe there. Whereas
the two main female characters and your two number twos,
your lieutenants, basically.
Yeah.
And then Beastman, who was one of the ones, because I didn't have a lot of Masters figures when I was a kid. It was not my thing. My parents tried to sort of keep me in the one lane. And there'd be occasional things here and there.
Lane.
Yeah. So, but I did have a Beastman when I was a kid, so he's got a lot of sort of sentimental value for me. And I mean, this is him. Look at him.
Yeah.
The only thing I would ever change, I think, on Beastman would be to give him the Stratos monkey feet.
Oh,
the toes, the naked toe feet.
Yeah, you're probably right. He looks like he's wearing slippers.
Yeah, he's wearing little booties.
Now, let me ask you guys, on the armor, the arm armor, do I have that on upside down?
I think they point up.
I wasn't sure.
I don't remember.
This might be
Joe, have you got yours?
I'm looking for where did I put them? You know what? My Beastman isn't open yet.
Oh.
I've got a stack of Origins.
Well, that will tell you what they're supposed to be.
No, because they're not on him in the package.
Oh, you're right. They're not on him, yeah.
Which is why I had the problem.
Look at the cross-sell.
Oh, yeah, wait.
Here we go. I got it.
You got it?
No, it's not. It's
no,
not
he's
Beastman.
not on that one. Oh, man, my earbud fell out. He is not on that one either. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Anybody watching, if you can help us out here.
Solve the mystery of Beastman.
For this extremely important question.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, and he's got his
whip.
String whip.
His string whip and his cheerleader cone.
Go team!
I've got this stack still waiting to be unboxed.
What do we...
What's wave 2?
Well,
or 3?
Wave 3 is that.
Okay.
But I believe I got this.
That came out first, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and Battle Cat.
And Battle Cat. Okay, so we have the Sky Sled.
Yeah.
Is this the most iconic vehicle?
Well, it's half a vehicle.
Well, right. But in the cartoon, I mean...
It was ubiquitous, yeah. It's the most common vehicle in the cartoon, with maybe the Wind Raider being second.
Yeah, I would say those are definitely 1 and 2.
I've always been a fan of the Jet Sled, or the Sky Sled. The Battle Ram was not a toy that I had as a kid, and I was always super jealous of kids that did have it. I love that they give it the two different heads, so the heroic warriors one and the evil warriors one. I love the blast effect. I mean, this is kind of a weird choice.
I love it though. Why not?
Well, because you kind of just point your jet sled at what you want to shoot. Maybe because you got to fly the sled and then
I want it to pivot.
do that, and then these are great. Mine are bent.
Oh, that's
mine
not
are
great.
Bent in. I have 2. I bought 2 so I could display both of them.
Oh, okay.
One of them's still in the box, but the modularity of these
amazing
of
interchangeable racing stripes.
Yeah. How great. And then it's a great stand on like a desert based thing. It's yeah.
That stand
the Sky Sled is a knockout.
The stand itself does so much for me because even as a kid, like how many times did you try to like hang your flying vehicles from the ceiling? Or like I remember getting like the Ninja Turtles blimp and just assuming it would float if I inflated it. Like how? What do you mean it won't float? It's got air in it. Like I put it there myself. Like and having these little stands now. The first time I opened the Sky Sled and just had it, I just looked at that for a second. I was like, yeah, this is really cool. This is like so good.
Well, they understand that collectors are buying these too. And we want to be able to display them.
Yeah.
they're not going to go in a tote. And
I think with how big figure photography has become also, and how much you see on Instagram and wherever else, I think the people behind the scenes have that in mind when they're creating this stuff, because that's stuff they're interested in as well, so they understand it. And having that in mind as they're sculpting these figures or creating these vehicles, actually it adds so much to the display ability, and obviously what you get in the articulation of these figures right now. And it's amazing how far we've come in 40 years, right?
I feel like the color is a little off. I wish it was a little bit of a deeper blue.
This is where you have a problem with the color?
Yeah, I feel like the other one maybe is darker blue, the Classics one.
I don't know. I feel like they're pretty close. He's getting up to go examine my Classics Sky Sled. Oh, well. No, now he's just going to knock a bunch of stuff over.
I think I remember
just bring the whole thing over.
I remember it as kind of a duller blue from the cartoon. But I think
everything in this line is brighter. Oh my gosh, that's so dusty. I'm embarrassed.
It's definitely a different color,
but it's not that. Okay, that's the right color for the Origins version of this vehicle. Because look at how bright all of these are.
But I would think this would be even just a bolder blue as opposed to this kind of like the blue of the Mega Construx Battle Ram.
I don't have a mental image of that in my head. Go put that dusty thing back. You're going with the wrong one.
Maybe it's a different
We're going to keep this one here. I like the color. It's good.
Yeah, I find it very hard to nitpick on stuff like this. I'm not like the biggest guy when it comes to attention to detail to begin with. So if I just think it looks cool, like I said, just having it on that stand for the first time and just having it and seeing it and being able to move it up and down, that just for me was awesome.
Yeah, this Mega Construx Stinkor here, I feel like that blue is the blue it should be.
I think that's crazy.
Well, takes all kinds.
So this knocked it out of the park. And as far as Prince Adam goes, I do think this is actually the He-Man head. Because as you pointed out, one of your He-Mans had oranger hair, or the oranger hair than the Prince Adam. But this is too orange for He-Man for me. And I don't really care about Prince Adam all that much, so I just stuck this head on him. And then he came with a pink power sword.
That he cannot hold.
That he can't hold.
I saw in a review of the Keldor 2-pack that Cronus can't hold anything. His hands are useless.
Yeah, I think I watched the Pixel Dan review of that. Yeah. And that's what he said.
Which is why Skeletor chopped one of them off. Learn how to hold something, Trapjaw. I'm going to give you a claw arm so that you can figure it out.
You're going to have 2 digits, and that's it.
It's less work with only 2.
All right.
So are we moving on? Battle Cat, yes. Battle Cat with helmet. Battle Cat without helmet. Oh my.
Yeah, I feel like we missed a paint app there.
look at that eye.
So not only does he have a horrendous lazy eye, can we see this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Phantom Jr., can you make that picture large? That didn't help.
Wow.
Okay. Hello, He-Man. So.
This is
there we go, big guy. There we go. Get your dignity back.
Beyond that, though, don't we feel like he should have some white in those eyes?
Yeah, it's a shame.
Now, Joe, you opened this guy up on your YouTube channel, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, plug your YouTube channel.
Oh, it's just youtube.com/Joe Shoes, and it's just I do a lot of food reviews, and I just open up toys, just trying to have fun doing the stuff I like doing.
Word.
Now, did you notice? How are your Battle Cat's eyes?
My Battle Cat was actually really good because when I had it in my hands for the first time and saw the eyes painted onto the helmet, like to me that was a huge thing, especially from remembering the vintage Battle Cat and really how dull.
And those look great.
Yeah,
those are on point.
You know, it looks whenever they would do that like zoom in shot of Battle Cat's head as he was talking to He-Man, like you vividly remember those eyes, you know. So that was a big thing. And then
I have the power too.
Once you remove the helmet, the thing that surprised me most about this figure was the jaw articulation.
Yeah,
because that was something that was really unexpected to me, and like wasn't like a make or break thing anyway. But to have it was just like, oh, now this is pretty. This is a bonus. This is great.
Now, how do we feel like this Battle Cat does as far as stability compared to classics?
I mean, honestly, I've got to say this one's better.
Yeah.
Because my Classics Battle Cat is looking down all the time.
Always
his head, he stands okay.
Oh, really?
But mine's head is looking like straight down to the ground.
Yeah.
I need to...
Like, I love this Battle Cat, especially for $25.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everyone's big complaint with this is the lack of ankle articulation, and I'm like,
it's fine.
Like, listen, I get it. I understand people want more articulation, but like, I also don't want to spend $60 at retail for a Battle Cat figure. Like, how much?
Well, and it's that extra articulation sometimes that makes them droop. Like, it's you know, like I feel like the Classics one, I have a hard time really getting to stand up nicely.
The more joints there are, the more weak points there are, as far as getting something to stand up.
Although it's not as much of a disappointment as the horses were without the ratcheting legs.
Now, see, I didn't get the Classics horses.
Well, because when they were announced, the image that they used of Stridor was it rearing up on its back legs.
Okay.
Like supported completely with a figure inside on its back legs. And
that didn't work?
No, not at all. Not even close. And they were supposed to be ratcheted. And then apparently they cut that at some point for cost, and then they
didn't tell anybody?
Nope. And then it couldn't do what it looked like it could do in the images. So that was a bummer.
Well, some unfortunate things went down at the end of that line.
Well,
here's another thing about Battle Cat. Real quick, if you'll notice, the horn details here, the little spikes and horns, have a gloss on them. So they stand out from the saddle.
Now
the
new Battle Cat that we're getting has a gloss armor.
A whole different level of gloss.
Yeah, it's a deeper red and very glossy, and then it's got Battle Cat's all scratched up with battle damage. So I that was an interesting choice for me because I never thought about having two Battle Cats of all the things.
Well, it's a great set because how I feel about exclusives is they should be something that are a bonus. They shouldn't be anything that's essential for your collection. So they should be repaints, different versions.
Like the Castle Grayskull pack of stuff that doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's not the best exclusive. But for a Target exclusive, like Rise of Evil, that's not a good exclusive.
Right.
Because you have Keldor, who's a unique character that you need. And Cronus, even though Trapjaw is my favorite guy, that's a character I could give her whatever.
The head, and I agree with Pixel Dan, the head sculpt and paint on Cronus's head is pretty weak.
I haven't seen it in person. I mean, I watched his review.
He said in the review that he thinks that the Classics Keldor head is the exact same head on the Origins.
Just painted differently.
Just painted differently, and so then he was like, well, then why did you make it crappier? Did you go through the effort of making
maybe they didn't have the tooling for the Cronus head
That's
anymore. True. All right. So at this point in the line, I found everything at retail.
Yeah, same here. I got all this at retail.
Joe?
No, at this point, I had to get everything through the internet somewhere.
Where did you get yours?
I Wave 2, I'd gotten Wave 2 and and everything after that has been through Big Bad Toy Store.
Same here, yeah.
And then
I've got everything that you can on pre-order.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, and that's what, after this is the point where I was pretty much in love with the line.
Yeah.
And I realized I was going to have to get them all. So yeah, Big Bad, at one point,
I did that New Year's.
Everything up.
It was like New Year's Day.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, because I was
right.
in Florida. I was in New Year's Day, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm just doing this all now.
Because Walmart had the exclusivity through the end of 2020. So it was New Year's 2021 is when everybody put them up. But Big Bad, I feel like they were the only ones that got them up lickety-split.
And Entertainment Earth was shortly behind.
But I also think Entertainment Earth's release, and this is standard between Entertainment Earth and Big Bad, Entertainment Earth's dates were like a month or more later as far as the release dates.
Yeah. I remember...
and I just love Big Bad.
Amazon had gotten a lot up right away as well, but basically as soon as they went up, they immediately sold out, and like those links all disappeared like almost instantaneously.
I'm much happier to give my money to Big Bad.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So I don't.
If you're shopping with a lot more confidence with them.
Now this is my first time really shopping a lot at Big Bad. How exactly does the pile of loot work?
So here's what you do when you do a pre-order, and this is for the viewers or listeners too, so you know how it works. BigBadToyStore.com. You put in your pre-order, and when you make that pre-order, you have the option for it to ship ship as soon as it comes in, or go to your pile of loot. So, for instance, if I've got a couple of G.I. Joe figures, a wave of Masters, and a Harley Quinn figure that I know are all coming out in June, well, they come in and they say, hey, your item is here. It's in your pile of loot. And I can just wait until all of those June items have come in, and then they ship them all in the same box for $4.
How do you... So, if something's in your pile of loot, it ships with whatever the next thing...
Well, no, you have to go to your pile of loot and say, ship my stuff now.
And it will ship with... How does it know to ship it with?
It ships everything that's in your pile of loot.
Oh, okay.
So if, let's say...
Because I was thinking you could just wait until something else came out and then be like, cool, ship my pile of loot with that other thing that just came out.
No, you have to, once it comes in, you can say, this is the thing I was waiting for.
So do you tend to put everything in your pile of loot and then...
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Every once in a while, there'll be something that like if there's a big item that I want to review on YouTube, on the Needless Things YouTube channel, if I want to get that review up ASAP, then I'll mark it as ship as soon as it comes in. But most stuff I do pile of loot.
Okay. I have all of the He-Man Tiki cups in my pile of loot at the moment.
Yeah, it just depends on how long you want to wait for stuff and how, because I mean,
for a lot of stuff I don't mind waiting, you know.
Yeah, and that's the way I am with a lot of stuff too. And I mean, look, it's $4.
Yeah.
So if you've got 3 things in your pile of loot and you're like, you know what? Yeah, go ahead and send them. $4.
Yeah. And Powercon shipping is $50.
Okay. I want to say I got Panther at retail. I want to say I 100% did. And I'm not sure where...
You can say it. You can.
In this, I totally said it. But Panther is a beautiful purple love kitten.
Much easier on the eyes.
Yes, well, literally easier on the eyes. But I love it.
Yeah.
Purple and green are my jam.
Mm-hmm. What's not to like? Peanut butter and chocolate.
But it is weird to me that he doesn't have a hat.
Well, Old Panther
He's not
have
supposed
a hat.
to.
Yeah,
but it still seems weird.
It's interesting the paint difference, where it's like they're like, we gave you stripes, you don't need any more paint. So Panther's got his nose painted and his eyes painted.
Right. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, there's no nose there, and everything else looks about the same. But really good. Your eyes are really good. I mean, they're like as good as Battle Cat's helmet.
Yeah. So Panther looks fantastic, but that didn't stop them from making a Panther.
Flocked Panther. I don't have my Flocked Panther yet.
He's upstairs.
Oh, that's where he is.
Yeah. You can take the one with the better box, because I might open this one.
Oh, I'm definitely opening it.
Okay. So we have Flocked Panther.
Realistic fur.
Okay, I feel like this should all be in quotes.
Well, yeah, dude, realistic fur.
Joe, have you found a Flocked Panther yet?
No, this is one of the items I'm missing still. So
I'll keep an eye out. I found 2 at the Walmart closest to the house, and I haven't seen him since. But I'll keep an eye out for you.
It might have been
Thank
the
you.
one I went to the other day.
Well, they have the regular ones everywhere. But yeah, if you and your mom see one while you're out, grab another one.
Yeah, I think it might have been that one, but I'm not sure.
But the flocking looks great. He looks nice and fuzzy.
Great art.
And it looks
Screech.
like the saddle's a little darker. Or that might just be because it's behind the plastic.
Maybe. You got Tila on a horse with up here. Or no, this is Tila on her unicorn. Up there.
We'll show the people.
Yeah. Which I think she rode in the mini comics. I want to say that she had a unicorn in the mini comics.
Well, we've got to have a horse coming.
Yeah.
There's got to be a horse coming in this line.
Well, Shira will get a horse.
You're right.
They'll get Swiftwind, and then once they have the horse, they'll be like, "Oh, well, it's time to release 3 more horses because we have the mold. So we'll do Arrow, and we'll do Sugar Lump or whatever." There were lots of horses. One thing I learned about in the toy guide that just came out was how many horses there were in Shira. There were these beautiful crystal translucent horses.
I've seen
that
pictures
are
of those.
gorgeous. Very, very beautiful toys.
Now, Joe, you're definitely more of a She-Ra guy than I ever was. What is your knowledge of these translucent horses from the original She-Ra line?
I never really collected the original Shira line outside of just having a couple of figures. Maybe like a handful of them as a kid. Because I think at that point too, I was transitioning more into Thundercats. Would probably be around that time period. But I remember them. I know I've seen them quasi recently. Because I have gone back and done some searches. It feels like every character was given an accompanying horse in that line. Like it was just like
that's what I felt like. Yeah.
You know, like if you're a baseball player, Louisville Slugger gives you a bat. If you're a Shira character, Mattel gives you a horse.
Right.
It's like, welcome to the show, kid.
Hey, Joe. So since you're a Shira fan, have you seen Rebecca Cox's customs?
No, I haven't actually.
Joe Amato's, I'm like in love with her because he does so many customs,
Yeah.
and then she started doing these really beautiful recreations of very, very detailed vintage Shira toys, like refurbs, and just has been doing really beautiful custom work.
Huh.
So if you want to look up Rebecca Cox on Instagram, her little cosplay/toy thing is called Simple Tricks and Nonsense. Check her out.
gonna do that right
she's
now,
doing
actually.
she's doing some really cool stuff. And her cosplay is great. She has a beautiful Shira. She's working on an Adora right now. I met her through a group of other cosplayers near the puppetry track, and they were in their Shira, and her partner has a really beautiful Filmation Hordak costume that looks really good. Definitely check her stuff out. Shout out for Rebecca.
Yeah, that's cool. I always feel like Shira got kind of forgotten about after the original series kind of, faded away, and we went like such a long time without like any mention of Shira in anything. That's why when DreamWorks was coming out with the new show, it was almost like, oh, finally, like thank you for remembering this thing still existed.
Well, I think that the reason for that was that anything that really had Shira in it until this had been driven by He-Man.
Yeah.
It was, we're doing He-Man stuff, so here's some Shira stuff to go along with the He-Man thing. And the Shira show was the first time that Shira was doing her real own thing completely without He-Man. and it wasn't targeted at boys. You know, it wasn't He-Man stuff and here's some Shira stuff for boys.
Yeah.
It was straight up, here's a new show for girls of this generation to get, you know, young viewers interested in Shira.
Yeah,
and I think that it did that.
I think it did a great job of reestablishing the brand and even advancing it kind of beyond where the original series had taken it to. I thought the timing was right for it because for now these past, it feels like 10 years where we've been talking about, oh, there's going to be a He-Man movie. There's not going to be a He-Man movie. Oh, there's a script.
There's not going to be a He-Man movie.
Yeah, exactly. And at some point, it was like, you know, guys, if this is how it's going to be, just like stop. Just I don't want to hear anything about it. Just stop.
And I've always been of the opinion too that if you were going to do a new He-Man anything, that Shira is a better choice because, and I think that's it's an example of why the Netflix show did so well, is that if you look at the root of the story, in He-Man, the good guys are winning, and in Shira, it's a rebellion. It's more like Star Wars,
right? Masters in He-Man, the good guys are the ruling class, and
that's not as
they've already won.
Yeah, they've already won.
They're in charge. But whereas Shira is Star Wars,
and you have a clearer goal to defeat the Horde and free us. You know, it's otherwise it's just we'll just stop Skeletor's next stupid plan.
Yeah, keep Skeletor from going into that cave.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, and this goes for so many of the '80s cartoons of the day, where they become every episode is just the villain's big plot of the day. Yeah. And Shira actually was able to kind of keep a little connectivity between episodes just because of the uphill battle they had in trying to overtake the Horde.
Yeah. And the fact that Shira has a redemption story. Her story is she has a redemption arc, whereas He-Man's like, you're already rich and a prince. Oh, here's some superpowers.
But also, here you go, muscle boy.
Yeah, you know, whereas...
life has really given it to you hard lately, so here's a power sword. The most powerful man in the universe. And
whereas Shira has the guilt. You know, Shira has the guilt of the crimes that she committed as Force Captain, and having to make right to those things. And I think it's a more engaging story.
So we gotta keep going.
Yeah.
At this point in the line, Wave 3, I was in. And I was really, really getting antsy.
And this is like your wave.
I was getting bad FOMO. And this wave, Trapjaw and Scareglow,
your two favorite characters.
Two guys.
Hands down.
So this is where I really lost my mind. Beau, I don't know if you remember this.
You did. Yeah, you made some choices.
I texted Beau one night, and I was like, Beau, I think I'm getting ready to spend about $60 on Scareglow on eBay. Because, one, I'm terrified I'm not going to get him. And two, I had read somebody had their Amazon pre-order canceled, which I had all four of these pre-ordered from Amazon. And Amazon canceled like all the pre-orders. And somebody asked Amazon customer service, hey, what's up with this? Why'd you cancel my pre-order?
Yeah.
And Amazon said, this item has been found to contain toxic materials and has been recalled by the vendor.
Tainted Scareglow! Tainted!
Oh, no.
So
it was actual bones.
It was from real human bones.
It was, the claim in the email was that something in the glow-in-the-dark plastic had found to be toxic. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have this Scareglow.
Especially now that I know it's dangerous.
Which, by the way.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah,
get that taint all over your face.
So I did it. I went ahead and paid $50 for Scareglow on eBay, which is not something I normally do.
No.
I'm a retail guy. I don't even like paying shipping.
Yeah.
But I got him. I was delighted. And I didn't see him at retail because this was, I think, November. That sounds about right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't see him at retail for at least 3 months after I got him. So you know what? To take to ease my mind, to take
$50 worth of peace of
strain
mind.
off of my heart, yes, it was worth it for that guy. And the figure itself glows like mad.
Yeah.
Yours is. I don't know if mine does. Yours has a little smirk.
Yours doesn't.
No, I don't know.
I've got another Phantom Jr.
Mine has a little smirk.
I've got a scare glow on the card over there. He's on the bottom shelf on the left of the white shelves over there.
I've got mine right here.
I've got our producer running an errand. Yeah, Joe, see if does yours have a smirk? I can't see it.
On the left.
I wouldn't call this a smirk. I would say it's a straight line serious face.
Oh, wow.
You want your trap?
So maybe this is toxic and I really shouldn't have
Smirking
rubbed it on my
scare glow.
face. He's
Smirking
smirking
action.
because he's toxic.
Yeah.
I will say it did take me a
I'm
while.
getting
No, I don't need that.
bowel cancer.
So I've got 2 trap jaws that I'm keeping mint on card because I'm a lunatic. Thank you, sir.
See.
No, he's smirking too.
No.
Is he not?
Oh. Well, maybe right there at the end, he's got that sort of darker gap.
Well, we should hold those up for the viewers.
This has the 2 most special scare glows.
Oh yeah, the mouth paint is different though.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It has a little up. Yeah, I guess they both have that little up.
Yeah, they both have it at the back, but you're right. There is a big black gap in this one.
Yeah, mine.
So that's how you know.
Back by the end of the jawline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But looking at him straight on, it looks just like a very much a no expression.
Well, and
face.
you can look there. You can actually see that the paint is higher than the sculpt line.
Oh, interesting. So I've got he's smiling because he knows he's toxic, like Britney Spears. All right. But anyway, I love him. He glows great. The skeleton paint job is fantastic. I love this guy. He's a great figure, great toy. Glow in the dark
Anything.
is anything.
You saw that picture I sent you of like somebody's all of their glow in the dark toys.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
pretty cool. Right?
Mine are throughout the room, so when you turn out the lights in here, there's like...
Random.
Yeah. All right.
Who's next? Then your main
Of
man.
course, my main man, Trapjaw. With his articulated jaw, he's got his little hoop for sliding down a string.
Which
extra
Cronus does
hands.
not have.
Cronus does not have the loop.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Extra parts, everything switches out. He's fantastic. Colors look great. Joe, comparing this, though, to the vintage Trapjaw, do you see what I'm saying about Origins colors, where everything is a little brighter and
Punched
more
up.
saturated?
100%. I think this is a great example of that too. And the one thing I think stands out about this is the face sculpt on this figure, where it almost has more.
It's really different
It's very different, and
from all the other trap jaws. The beady little yellow pupils.
yeah, it's got more of a cartoony face to it. I feel like something you would draw in like a Scooby-Doo monster
Jr.
or something like similar to that. I think for any of the figures that have been
Grab
released
that
so far,
Trapjaw in front of Castle Grayskull. No, not that. Well, yeah, that one too. But they've got the original.
It's comparison
vintage one,
time.
by the Jawbridge.
You want the Lego one too?
No, we don't need the. Well, that's a bootleg, so that doesn't even count. We don't do.
I gave
bootlegs
you
in
that.
here.
I
It's
gave you
a
that bootleg
Just
Lego
try
trap
to spider web real
jaw.
quick.
Gross.
I got you a little something.
Oh yeah, he's very different. So that's our vintage Trapjaw.
Wow, that head is so bobbly.
Well, you know.
This trap draw.
And then this is our Super 7 animation Trapjaw. No, I don't want the other one because it might knock over everything on that shelf.
Are you missing the other attachment, the hook?
Oh, I might be. I didn't think I was, but I might be.
It might have fallen.
Yeah, maybe over there somewhere.
But yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah, very different. I actually like this one more.
the jaw is more similar.
Yes.
right?
Is it?
Because it's kind of flat.
That's that guy's.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But it looks great. Yeah. No eyebrows this time.
Which I'm okay with. Because Clawful has enough eyebrows for everybody. Alright. So, can you just stick those on the...
So why? Okay, so is it just the colors? Is it the green? What? Why Trapjaw?
He's a cyborg, which is awesome. He's got interchangeable parts, like the G.I. Joe bat, which is awesome. His creepy trap jaw.
Well, okay, but Roboto has a movable jaw and replaceable parts.
Roboto's, look, I love, we'll get to Roboto in a minute.
Okay,
Much respect to Roboto, but his jaw is dumb.
His jaw's dumb.
It is. We'll see.
Okay, all right.
We'll
get there.
then we've got one more guy. We've got two more.
Yeah, two more.
So we've got Manny Faces. Everybody loves Manny Faces. Robot face, monster face, human-ish face, actor face.
Actor face. Joe, do you celebrate Bring Your Many Faces to Work Day?
I don't, but I feel like I should. It's just that I get mad when people bring their actual kids to work. So the last thing I want to do is become part of the problem.
Oh, that's fair. I had one. I had the Loyal Subjects Many Faces, which looks
Here's
actually
a
quite
one for Joe.
Quite good. At my desk at my old job.
Oh, sweet.
I do have the flocked Mega Constructs.
But yeah, I mean, this one, I feel like he's possibly the most true to the vintage that we've gotten.
His head spins. The old one.
The fact that the head turns is huge.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as his colors and design and everything, like you could almost, if you posed him in the old vintage style and threw him in a toy box,
nobody would notice.
I actually felt like the orange on his chest was a little much for me. A little too bright. But that's been the consensus with this line the whole time, was that it was a lot more vibrant than we're used to seeing in Masters of the Universe. But other than that, I mean, just obviously, look, they're all upgrades. Everything is an upgrade from where we were. But just, I'm nitpicking here, but it's still a super cool figure, and the faces turning is great. But just, that little coloring just kind of...
Yeah, the only... I feel the same way, but it's the paint.
Yeah.
It's the difference between... Because this figure has blue parts and the sort of orange-yellow parts, but sometimes it's the plastic and sometimes it's paint. So, like, this is the plastic blue, and that's painted blue. Yeah. That's plastic orange, and that's painted orange. And there's a pretty noticeable difference, I think, which is a shame.
Now, what do we prefer? Do we prefer orange Manny Faces, or do we prefer flesh-colored Manny Faces?
Which one's the flesh-colored one?
The one with, instead of orange...
Oh, right. I don't know. But he has the same eyes that the Leo Faker does. That little domino mask kind of thing. That's the only thing that I would say, was that I wish that the blues and the oranges were consistent.
Yeah, but that's
I
Hmm?
want to figure the guy with like the eyeball guy. I don't know what his name is.
Oculus.
Yeah.
Optic.
Yeah.
Oculus is something else. That's a Mad Ball, which I've got
those two
And
right
it's
up here
also a
somewhere.
type of VR headset.
And who's it after Many Faces? Orko, yeah.
Okay, so I don't like Orko.
Well, he's the best one.
I like this Orko.
I like this Orko.
Yeah, I agree.
Joe, where are you on the Orko board?
So I'm not an Orko fan, and I know I'm gonna get killed for this, but the orange hat really bothers me.
I think it's the best sculpt of his hat that we've ever had. I really like the detail
I agree with you there. I do.
But the orange, yeah, I agree that the color is a little weird.
Oh wait, what should it be?
I don't know.
So
Like darker?
like to me, it should. To me, I wanted a matching red as his shirt, but in other iterations, because of coloring differences, it is often like a pale orange like that, and it's just I don't like the way it looks, and that is completely just a personal choice by me.
I think it's he looks more like, I don't know, that I want to say he looks more like the Filmation Orko than the actual Filmation Orko does. Like there's something about the proportions between his eyes and the scarf and the hat that, I don't know, they speak closer to the character.
To me, he looks straight out of the cartoon.
Than the other Orcos that we've had.
I think this figure is probably, out of the ones we've seen thus far, the one that is most Filmation centric compared to the rest of them.
And I like the little magic
the
stuff.
Floating effect is wonderful.
And that it's not just the straight up peg, that he has a range of motion, that he can, be, you can get a sort of sense of action where he's like flying forwards a little bit, or
he's bowing up on you.
I see. I thought that was so cool. I actually just bought a stand for my vintage Orko, so you can have him.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful. I saw that on Instagram.
And you got the trick too.
Yeah,
congratulations.
So I've just had this in a bag for years because it's hard to put out. And someone in a He-Man collector group that I'm in was like posting about that they had made stands for Orko and Rotar.
I think I saw that same post. Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I had just bought a Rotar and a Twistoid, and I was like, all right, let's show it. I had my eBay bucks come in, so I was like, this is a nice thing to put them towards.
How much did you pay for the Rotar and the Twistoid?
I believe the final cost was $810 for the pair.
Good on you. And complete, right?
Complete and in really good condition. Coloring on them is very good. It was one of those things where there weren't a lot of other people in the auction, and it was one of those things where I never knew if I was ever going to be able to get those into my collection.
Yeah.
But the opportunity was kind of there, and I was like, all right, like if we're going to do this, now is probably a good time.
I have my vintage Rotar. No accessories, but I have my vintage Rotar, but no Twistoid.
The Twistoid seems to be a lot more difficult to get with the coloring and the paint in decent shape. It seems like he gets a lot more face wear on the paint. But what I'm also worried about now, too, is with the new Revelation show coming out and everything that will be accompanying it.
Starring Rotar.
I'm worrying about the vintage stuff spiking in value to the point where it'll almost make collecting it impossible.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. Look at Joe and I, both big fans of the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. Joe, an occasional star.
Yeah.
And I think you can credit that. And look, podcast, not a TV show, not anything widely circulated, any more so than a podcast anyway. I feel like that show's solely responsible for Hasbro WWF figures.
Yep.
Well, really, any vintage wrestling figures have skyrocketed.
As soon as
and I think it's completely that podcast.
I think one of the biggest examples was the Stomp figures, the WWF Stomp figures, which were just garbage figures for over, almost 2 decades. And they start talking about just the fun they had with them as throwaway figures when they were kids. And all of a sudden, everybody's out on eBay buying Stomp figures. And it's like, I make the joke to Brian all the time. I go, this podcast was the biggest rib on yourself, because now you guys have to pay higher prices for the stuff you do want, just because now everybody's looking for the stuff because you talked about it. Now that everybody is remembering how cool it was.
Yeah, I definitely got a set of Stomp Series 2 when the first time they started talking about it. I was like, you know what? I need those because of like aquatic stuff. I love water-themed toys.
Hydron.
And and Stomp Series 2 is all water-themed. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a set of those. And the first two I found no problem. Got them shipped for $10, mint on card. And then I kind of waited to buy the next ones. And just in a couple of weeks' time, I ended up spending twice as much on each one just to get.
Oh, wow.
Because of those guys. Yeah. But I never would have bought them if it wasn't for them. So
yeah. And meanwhile, those figures sat on $5 flea market tables for decades.
KB 3 for $10 or whatever.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. All right, let's move on to the next wave. This is the first wave that I got in full from Big Bad Toy Store.
Same.
And we're gonna start.
I've got a question.
Okay.
Do you think they're gonna make those like bigger guys down there, like the dragon, the ogre dude?
I would hope so, but I don't know.
Because they didn't. Well, the Giants had vintage figures.
They are making the Giants because here's why. They're making. What are they making, Joe? Tell us what they're making.
From the Masters of the WWE Universe line, they will be making a combination Andre the Giant and Titus.
And he is bigger.
And so they'll reuse the pieces.
Because that's a lot of what they've been doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Is the tooling for Masters of WWE has been like, well, this is for Beastman, but we're going to stick it on whoever and get it made.
And we'll get to Stratos.
Right. Well, yes, we will.
But now I think the question has to become, how much longer do we really see this Origins line going? Because at some point, they're going to need to free up their space in retail to bring in the Masterverse stuff. And they've already shown some of those other figures from the CGI show coming down the line, which is
the kids show.
Yeah.
Look, I think they look cool for kids' figures.
Yeah.
I think they're fine. I'm not going to get them.
I think it's great in the sense that if it gets kids into He-Man, great. But if you imagine if things had gone the way that Mattel was planning, and we did have a movie, because that was the whole thing. The reason Origins is here is because they thought they were having a movie.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get stuff in the stores, and now they're like, oh, no movie. But if they had done it, then it would have been what? Origins, the movie toys, and 2 TV shows worth of He-Man?
I think that Masterverse. Now, I don't know if it was a course correction or what, but I think Masterverse probably would have included the movie toys.
That makes sense. Because otherwise, it's like, okay, so we're doing Masterverse, and it's the show.
Because Mattel has a history of, like, with the DC lines, the movie figures and the comic figures would be in the same waves. They would, like, it was all part of the DC Universe toy line.
Gotcha.
They probably had the same intent with that, which is why it was called Masterverse.
So I wonder what other Masterverse we'll get if it's not based on the show.
An expansion to classics. But they don't.
They did everything in classics.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Everything's done.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll be interested to see.
I mean, I guess you could dip into making new adventure style figures for a couple.
No, new adventure style?
Why not?
Because they.
Well, wait. Okay,
it's all part of the verse.
Here's.
Oh God.
So what if the Masterverse line? Because they don't fit with classics. We looked at them earlier. They're not the same.
No.
But what if they start doing kind of what classics did, and we get some 2002 style?
Yeah.
Like they take looks, like same thing classics did.
Yeah. Maybe
it's basically a retail because, again, Scott Knightley on his YouTube channel, Spectral Creative. Check it out if you're a toy fan. You need to be watching Spectral Creative.
And if you are a He-Man fan and you liked classics, for all of its warts and blemishes and whatever have you, Scott Knightley made dreams come true. And that man worked unbelievably hard to make the most comprehensive toy line ever.
But he has said in his videos that the plan was always to get classics to retail. But we're going to keep going. One of the stars of the show, one of our favorites, Shira, Princess of Power.
Most powerful woman in the universe.
I think this is one of the best figures in the line so far. The soft goods, I think, are fantastic. The glitter is awesome. The variable mask that you can put on vintage style or, well,
Helmet, whatever you want to call it.
Sort of there.
Yeah.
Hey. But her sword looks great. Her shield looks great. Like
everything.
To me, everything about
great.
this figure is spot on.
Yeah. The only downside is you just lose the hair. It's the plastic hair, you know.
Yeah, but
so she's always kind of looking down. And Keldor's going to be the same way. He's got the same limitations on articulation with the hair.
So what was your anticipation level for this Shira?
I was actually really thrilled with this Shira in the sense that it came early enough in the line where I wasn't like crazy itching for it beforehand, and because of the one that had been released as the Powercon exclusive last year, having this out so early in the line made me thrilled to have something I could open and display while being able to keep my Powercon exclusive still in the package, because that packaging, as we saw before, is terrific, and I just I want to keep that with it, you know.
This character is also a statement. Having this character be included in as a main release and not like an exclusive is making a statement, and it's saying that Shira is part of the He-Man universe.
Yeah,
it's not a separate thing. It's not a separate toy line. Shira belongs right here with all of your He-Man figures,
and we're getting to her early.
And and that is reflected in other choices in the line with Ninjor and Clamp Champ, where they're saying we're gonna embrace more of the diversity in the front end, and put out Shira and mix them in with your normal sort of 8-back type characters that were more in chronological order. That the characters that they did sort of bring in early were characters to really give us more variety, and I think that's great. And to have, because even in 2000X, Shira was an exclusive.
Yeah.
Right.
You could only get her if she was, as an exclusive. And then in Classics, you didn't get Shira for a while. And so for her to come out this early in the line, I think says a lot about the respect that they're giving Shira on equal footing with He-Man.
And to have this much attention to the detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's always been an issue with the rights to Shira as part of where sometimes she is considered part of the He-Man universe, but the rest of the characters are not, and they fall under a different license. So it's always been really weird. But I know that in talking with Robert Rudman from Mattel, because him and I have done a couple live streams about Masters of the WWE Universe, and one of my suggestions for a possible figure down the line was Bret the Hitman Hart as Beau the Master Archer, because I just thought sharpshooter, Master Archer, Beau has the heart of it.
Yeah.
Are they doing Big Moss Man? Is that happening?
Big Moss Man.
Didn't you tell me that?
Big Moss Man would be great. I
thought you told me that.
No, I think that was just a joke somebody made somewhere.
Oh. I gotta do that.
One of my
that would be great.
My idea for Moss Man was actually to do Ric Flair, because he's the Nature Boy and
Nature Boy, yeah, that's good.
I feel like you could do like a green soft goods robe with him like that, but
I'm not sure if they've got Boss Man right now.
They may not. So
yeah, I don't even know.
And everything, it comes and goes so quick with a lot of these licenses. Because even like the Road Warriors, I kind of wanted to do them as Too Bad, and I don't think they have the license for Road Warriors right now. So it's I'm not there.
That'd be interesting to see who would be Too Bad. Yeah, that's great.
Like I always felt like Too Bad should be, if they're going to continue that line, should be like a tag team because.
Of course.
Yeah, like it'd be hard to get in.
You guys are wrestling people. What tag team would be the perfect Too Bad?
I mean, they already did New Day as Many Faces, which was perfect.
I thought that's probably my favorite figure in that line, is that one.
You know what? I would say right now, probably Viking Raiders is Too Bad.
Is there a tag team that doesn't get along? That part of their shtick is animosity?
Drake Maverick and Killian Dane? But they're not getting figures.
No, and the thing is, I think with this line they realized, kind of by wave 2, that they needed to put more emphasis on the legends and the classic superstars because of really who the market for these figures was. And people were not as excited for the current day superstars as Masters of the Universe characters. So where we did just get like a Becky Lynch.
Dude, Foley and Rock. It's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is they already did a Rock, and you know, like they.
Yeah, but they've done two. They've done two Macho Mans.
They've done two Macho Mans, and they've done two Ultimate Warriors. At least with the Macho Man, you could say, like they even used the mini comic to explain how he turned heel into the Horde World Order Macho Man. The Ultimate Warrior one, kind of a weird choice because they kind of did him as Merman in Wave 1, but then brought him back as King Grayskull with a kind of his WCW era One Warrior Nation look. So it was
my wife just picked that one up for me. I haven't opened it up yet, but it looked cool, so I was like, yeah, get it.
I mean, Warrior's extremely toyetic, so it makes for a cool figure, but when you try to attach like the connections between Masters and wrestling, it's almost like, oh, well, why did we go this route? And you know, I think a lot of it,
it's gotta be hit or miss. I mean, some things are gonna lend themselves really naturally, like Jake the Snake.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
All
right, so we gotta keep going to Roboto and his dumb jaw.
What?
His spring-loaded. I mean, it's fine,
The actual
but.
Roboto.
Look,
how is this not fun?
Look,
how is this not fun?
You can't compare.
Because he doesn't do this.
Well, and look at these. Okay, I'm cold. Move your thumb out from in front of the main feature. Those gears are fantastic.
Oh, they work, yeah.
They work.
This is a phenomenal figure. If you're a kid playing with this and you get to watch his gears move, his jaws bopping, he's colorful, he's clear.
Hey man.
That's really loud.
This is just a phenomenal action.
It's also really fun.
All around.
Colors are nice and bright. Anything clear. Clear is like secondary to glow in the dark for awesome toy feature.
My classics Roboto is not in good shape.
Is he not clear anymore?
Well, it's that the casing is loose. Or it's either that or it's my Club Grayskull Roboto. One of my Robotos messed up.
But this one, everything works great. Like, again, for $15.
Yeah.
And they worked in the action feature.
Yeah.
And he's not deluxe.
Right. Going into this line, knowing what we know about classics, did anybody here expect that this Roboto would be this?
No, I think for the value, this is just... I mean, like, I think Roboto lends itself to being a phenomenal, fun action figure, and I think they nailed it. And I think, like, if you're opening this and playing with it, and you have kids who you're playing with, like, this has got to be, like, one of the first picks, like, when you're on the floor playing with your kids. Like,
I was always a big fan of Roboto.
And on top of that, he's got his interchangeable hands.
Yeah. Now, do you think that, in terms of tooling, they were able to give us Roboto at the regular figure price because in this wave...
I was just thinking that same thing.
Zodak and Merman, there's not a lot going on there.
Let's take a look
at this money they saved on Zodak and Merman they spent on Roboto.
The reason we got Roboto.
Yeah.
Well, actually...
Because these are, really basic...
And look, I love Merman.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get the other head, the non-Stinkor head. Right. But I'm sure we'll get a retail version.
Yeah.
If they do... That's set up to come out. That's in...
What's that?
I believe that's Wave 6? Is the Merman 2?
Is it Lords of Power Merman, or...?
I think it's the Lords of Power Merman, yeah.
Okay.
With a corn cob sword and
his button nose. And two eyes made out of squash.
Squash?
Yeah.
My son, he sings with a corn dog guy. But yeah, Zodak, it's a head and a piece of armor and a gun. And
the gun had already been made.
Yep.
That's a different gun.
Yeah, different gun. Zodak's gun is
unique. We haven't seen that yet.
You got Merman, who's just armor, a head, and a corn cob sword.
Yeah.
Now, I've always wanted the hairy body on Beastman. The hairy chest.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's got chest hair. Look at those
He
nipples.
does, but Beastman doesn't.
Oh, does he not?
No.
Yes, he does.
Oh, he is the hairy chest?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
You got what you wanted.
Oh, yeah, I got what I wanted. Got the hairy chest.
Got those hairy nipples.
Yeah. All of the hairs on your nipples will spring forth!
You know,
Okay.
All right, so...
But these guys are right. They look like they're supposed to look.
that's
I'm
the
not
thing, is I think they're
partial to...
I think they're exactly what they're supposed to be. You know, like, yeah, maybe they don't wow you with all different kinds of deco or whatever, but I think it's like that's what I want my merman to like. That's what I expect my Zodak to like.
I could have used paint on the boots.
I don't want boot paint on him.
Paint? No?
He's mostly nude.
Yeah.
So this is skin.
I think so.
That's skin.
Yeah. Well, it's not skin. It's fish parts.
It's another mer person's leg skin that he's wearing as boots.
Yes, exactly.
It's probably the skin of his enemies that he's already
Yes.
vanquished.
That's the same
That's
color
the
as
same
his
color
skin.
as him. Well, he's gotten kicked out of the mer people
Right.
society because he skins his fellow mer people and wears them. He's a terrible person. He's a terrible mer person.
Yes.
But yeah, these are exactly what they should be. I wouldn't want them to be more than this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be. All right. What do we got here? Okay.
These guys.
I found at retail. I did not know what a big deal it was when I found them because I have not seen them since. Have you guys got the battle armor, guys?
I do. I have both.
I also have both, but mine had to come from Big Bad Toy Store.
Mine
And
came
see-
from Big Bad.
I canceled. I had them on pre-order at Big Bad, but that's, again, for the viewers and listeners, that's the magic of Big Bad, is the pre-orders are no obligation. You can cancel them anytime, no reason given, nothing. So I found these guys at retail at Target, and got them and canceled my Big Bad pre-orders. But I think these are fantastic, and I've seen people complain about the barrels being, or the windows for the barrels being too small. And they are difficult
Smaller. Yeah.
to manipulate. Like, they're fine to change, but to get them
back
is
a
a
trick.
chore.
Yeah, it's a pain.
Like, if your hands are dry, it's really difficult.
You just need to moisturize when you're doing your toys.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think the other thing about them is that the torsos are small for them wearing armor.
Yeah.
I don't,
Because
you're
their
not
torsos
wrong,
are
but I
the
don't
same
care.
size as their skin torsos. And I don't know. And
Yeah,
that
it almost looks like
You're
they
not
have
wrong about-
corsets. You know, so they've got like those waist trainers on. That way they could fit into
right. They're wearing
But like
Spanx.
at the same time, it's one of those things like I don't care. I'm just happy to have battle armor.
Yeah. No, I agree. And have an action feature that really works.
Yeah.
You know, compared to classics, where it's like take the armor off, reinsert the plate.
Which is what I
yeah.
thought these were going to be.
No.
I can't believe they've got the functioning barrels.
Well,
And
and
on top of that, extra heads.
extra heads,
And that's what's
extra
gonna be my
hands.
next point. The extra heads on both of these figures are like so killer to me. The almost
You
old
like
school
smirking Skeletor?
smirking Skeletor. There's like this mischievous grin to him,
Yeah.
and it just melts my heart. and the classic style He-Man head that came with the battle armor, because
Yeah.
I hate that He-Man head sculpt.
The origin head. Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't work for me.
I had bad luck with my battle armor Skeletor. His one of his heads, his nose paint
Oh no.
is like here. He has this black nose thing that's over here, so his whole face is kind of like.
What do you think about this crazy power effect here?
I love the power effect. I love any of the glowy extra things. I love the power punch, the Thunder Punch from Thunder Punch He-Man. any of the magic spell kit, like cast the spell as blast. I love all that stuff, and you can. Where did I put it? I put this in somewhere else.
Did you just take his hand off and stick it on his arm?
Maybe. No, I did something else with it. Yeah. There we go.
Sneezing.
Yeah, Thunder Punch He-Man's effect is
Rad.
Definitely looks like a snot blast.
Yeah.
I use it
On Granimir's
Rotar.
nose.
The Thunder Punch thing I use on Rotar. So Rotar's like leaning over, and he's got one hand sort of on the ground, and kind of like when you're on a skateboard and you go down, and then the Thunder Punch effect is coming off the bottom of his wheel thing. So it's sort of like he's spinning out, and yeah.
See, the blast power effect is something, because it's only semi-recently, within the past probably 3 years or so, that I've gotten back into collecting. So that energy power effect is something that's still pretty new to me, and I love it when I see it on like Marvel Legends or something else. And now to see it like with He-Man and being able to do the transformation, or I just it really adds so much for me personally. So I absolutely love it.
Anything that kind of pluses up your display options, I like. Like people, there's this weird thing online where people complain about figures coming with too many accessories. Like there's a contingent that doesn't like WWE figures coming with extra hands.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me. Like, I want as many... Yes, I'm probably going to open something up. I'm going to pose it. I'm going to put it on the shelf and not touch it for a year. But for that pose, I want as many options as I can get for my $20 or $15 or whatever the case may be. Like, I like these little extras. This may go in a drawer, but I may pull it out in 5 years and do something with it.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Maybe they want a hand accessory pack.
Huh?
Maybe they want a hand accessory pack with just a bunch of hands.
And just 50 hands in a
It's
box.
just jazz hands.
Yeah, they call it the
Expansion set.
It'll be the Mae
All right.
Young's Kids pack.
That's what we need. We need an evolution of the hand pack with like just a little small regular size hand, and then it grows up and you get like a big human size hand.
And the packaging is just Mae Young and Mark Henry in a long, loving embrace.
Yes, and like die cut.
Yes.
They're on the top of the card, and it's the
100%.
two of them in a heart shape.
Yes.
Let's make this happen.
All
right.
I'll send it into Mattel.
Yeah, let Robert know.
San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
So this, I don't even know how well this is going to fit into our... Okay.
I love
Now,
it.
this thing is so cool.
It is so good.
What a successful toy.
Yeah.
You want me to move it so they can see it better?
Yeah, if you can get my hand out of the way.
Oh, yeah. Land shark. It's so good. I have one of my eyes stickers is coming up a little bit, which is a bummer, but everything about it, and I hope, and my real hope for Origins is that this is an example of what we're gonna get, which is stuff that we didn't get in Classic.
Yes.
Like, I want my slime pit. I want my Origin slime pit, and this gives me hope that I'm going to get it.
Here's an issue I discovered the other day.
I got some news about that myself.
Oh, bring it.
Yeah, please.
So they cannot use the term slime.
It's
because-
trademarked by Nickelodeon.
By Nickelodeon.
So it can be the Horde
The
pit.
Horde Pit.
The Horde pit.
It would have to be something like that, which is why when they came out with what would have been the Slime Pit He-Man, they had to call it,
Horde zombie.
yeah. So they had to.
Oh.
So maybe it's Horde zombie pit. That would work.
Yeah, why not?
They own slime?
They
the
have to
trademark slime.
on the word
Bunch of-
slime.
You gotta protect your...
That was one
They
of
didn't invent slime!
No.
Maybe that's how we'll
And it wasn't even Nickelodeon that did it. It was a cable access show in Canada.
Because I had pitched a Piper Slime Pit accessory for the Motu WWE line. I thought if they're gonna keep going with it, get like some kind of play setter with it. And they're like, well, here's the problem with that.
Well, now hang on. What about the minis pack? That's the slime pit pack. What do they call that?
What?
Oh yeah, wait, isn't that called the?
It's like the slime pit pack.
Joe, you're gonna have to be our
Joe.
Google all of
Joe and research.
I'm looking it up right now because
Joe, head of research.
I
While you're looking it up,
Look at this.
I'm gonna point out the one thing I don't like about this. I don't like the hollowness.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
That's disappointing. But compared to how awesome everything
so
else
great.
about this
I could have
is,
used a little bit of something down here too. Just a little bit of something. And I thought this was packaged really interestingly.
oh, with this
Where this
pulled off,
section was pulled off.
it had to fit.
Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting
smart.
way to do it, yeah. But, just how fun. What a
Okay,
great...
what do you got, Joe?
So right now it looks like it is called Slime Pit He-Man in the minis, but I don't know. Like I got that from the horse's mouth,
Right.
So maybe I don't know if maybe that's a recent thing or whatever.
Yeah, maybe things have changed.
Yeah, so who knows? But going back to this land shark, I mean, and this is cool on its own, but for me it was a struggle because the packaging on this vehicle was so damn cool that I almost felt bad.
You didn't want to open it.
I really didn't. I mean, the artwork on it, the coloring, everything just looked so perfect that I felt bad for having to open it up.
Get in, losers. We're taking over Castle Grayskull.
So this was a retail find.
So good.
No, wait, it wasn't. I haven't seen this at retail yet. This came from Big Bad.
Yeah, I got mine in Big Bad. And the little shark mouths on the guns. That even the guns are little shark mouths.
You know, I didn't even notice that till just now. Oh my gosh.
That's so good. And it's such a fun vehicle. So then, what do we think maybe other Origins vehicles are going to be? And again, my hope is nothing I had in Classics.
I'm pretty sure haven't they already shown a Wind Raider?
Yeah, we've seen the Wind Raider, but I have a Wind Raider.
Pre-order.
I have two Wind Raiders. I have a Mega Construx Wind Raider and a Classics Wind Raider.
Well, you're going to have three.
I know. So that's what I'm saying is I want Origin vehicles to be ones that
Here's what I want. I want a Roton. Even though I know we got it in Classics, I did not get one. I want an Attack Track, but that's going to be a big boy.
Attack Track's a big boy, and it's in it. The action feature is a lot.
Is it though?
Yeah, it could be.
It's more than this.
I could see that
with
being
the wheels that. It's batteries. I mean, it's battery operated.
I could see that.
I don't think it has to be.
So you would roll it. And
wait, hang on. What are you saying, Joe?
I could see the Attack Track being like a $45, $50, vehicle compared to the rest of the stuff.
Well, do you think it would need batteries, or do you think if you just with pushing
just do the push,
the tracks would roll over?
You may be able to do it. I don't think it's going to be like a Dragon Walker. I think the Dragon Walker would definitely need batteries if you got to that point.
Yeah, there's no way you could do the Dragon Walker without batteries.
My big thing is one of my favorite toys of all time, any toy line across the board, is Spydor. If they can find a way to give me
Spydor,
like that would.
That's a good one. Mantisaur is a good one. Hordax Ride.
Yeah.
There aren't really a lot of Horde vehicles.
What if they decide to do the dinosaurs?
Oh, I want the dinosaurs so bad. I want a Bionatops. I want the Pterosaur. I love the dinosaurs. Getting a vintage Bionatops has always been something that I really wanted.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love the dinosaurs. I would be totally down with Origins dinosaurs.
Oh, that would be... See, I try convincing myself that the dinosaurs don't exist in the original line because, like, I feel like if I do that, it means I don't have to buy them at some point. Like, if I ever get to the point where, like, that's what I need to complete the collection, like, I'm like, oh no, they don't count. They're like the Meteorbs. Like, I don't.
Well, I agree that Meteorbs don't count because Well, although that's not, I was going to say because they were originally a different toy, but so was Battle Cat, so was Snake Mountain.
Yeah.
So you can't really use that as justification for not getting something.
I don't know. There aren't a ton of vehicles really.
There are a ton of vehicles. Road Ripper, the Vashosaurus. There's lots of vehicles. Which are the ones that you really want that we don't already have? Not if they did an Origins Battle Ram, I would get it.
You know what I want? I want a Talon Fighter because that Classics Talon Fighter is so preposterously huge.
Yeah. Mm. And it would if they did another Point Dread, but then again, I have a Point Dread, and while it is very big, I would rather have things like the Land Shark that are stuff that I don't already have.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right, moving on.
Land Shark, incredible.
Land Shark.
Ram Man,
hey.
Who does indeed
ramming.
Comes with an extra armored head.
Cool armored head.
A fist. Why not just have 2 C grips? Why do we need the fist?
Did the vintage one only have one?
That's my assumption.
The fist?
But
yeah,
who cares? But he looks.
I like
great.
The extra head.
Tons of articulation. He's got soft armor, so you can still get his arm up there, nice and high. And then you get a nice double weapon option.
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, a little double bladed action. He's got knees that
joints.
Really don't do much.
But, he's a big.
It's okay.
He's a big man.
But again, he has
that.
That is action feature.
Yeah, and I wish. I feel like by having to push down on it to activate it, you inevitably sort of mess it up.
Yeah.
Because you have to pull your hand off so fast that
you're learning a new skill, Beau. That's important.
I have skills. I don't need more. So and
you
like
can't,
the old one,
like,
you can't
launch him.
Yeah, the older one you could sort of push the button and he would jump, and this one you have to. I mean, yeah. But my favorite of the mix and matches. What?
Oh, I thought you were looking for his other head.
No, I want his. I want Trapjaw and Orko.
What?
Go ahead and keep talking.
I'm too fascinated by what in the world you're doing.
This was my favorite. This was my favorite of the mix-up set that I did with Michael.
What? So this is part of the fun of the line, and again, why it's such a great toy line is that it's more than just something to stand on the shelf. You can mix these things up. You can really interact with them in a significant way. Oh my gosh. Why?
That's great.
Show the people.
That's my Orko.
Back it up a little more. Get some light on that. What is?
Pat's messing up the.
Yeah.
But it's Orko with Trapjaw's belt as the scarf on Ram Man. There you go.
All right.
He looks like something, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, it is reminiscent of something else. Well, that doesn't work, but I did it anyway.
I was trying to find alternatives because if you take Orko's head off and put him on somebody else, it's just that.
Yeah.
So I was like, what else could be the scarf? So I started looking at belts, and that
was your winner.
That was my winner. Anyway, all right, sorry about that.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Carry on.
So, Ram Man Deluxe figure again has
Great
the action feature. Joe, what do you want out of a Ram Man in the Origins line? Did this deliver?
To me, this is probably one, if not my favorite figure of the line. It's like maybe top 3.
Nice.
The amount of detail they added into that with the articulation in the legs, the knees, the elbows, whereas the original Ram Man is such a stagnant, stationary figure. Like, you really can't do a lot with it. Although the jumping action is...
Although the jumping feature is better.
Yeah,
I would say.
But the fact that they were able to keep the jumping feature with this while still adding in all the newer bells and whistles, I think this Ram Man figure is just chef's kiss.
Yeah, agreed. And Ram-Man was one of my favorite Origins figures too. I mean that classics. Oh man, that classics Ram-Man is just. You could kill a man.
I was gonna say, that
you could
thing
seriously just kill a man with it.
Yeah, that is reminiscent of the LJN King Kong Bundy figure, where you could actually you legit cave in skulls with.
You could rob a store with that.
Not that we recommend that.
No, not that we condone that.
We don't endorse that.
No, robbery's wrong.
All right, we've got one last wave of figures. We've got Hordak. Again, kind of early in the
line. Exactly.
He looks awesome. He's scary. He's weird. He's got his Horde branded memorabilia.
Yes, always good on the marketing, the Horde. He's got his little bat. Cape is very nice. The old one was just that sort of sheet of vinyl.
Yeah. How would you guys have felt about the bat being upgraded a little bit?
Yeah. What do you think, Joe?
I perfect world, I would like it. At the same time, I feel like we've upgraded in the areas that matter. So maybe if the cost-cutting measure was to just keep the bat really basic, to keep this as a regular price figure and keep it in the line, I'm okay with that, because I still feel like I got what I wanted out of it.
I feel like it's a little almost slavish to the vintage. In a way that it maybe doesn't need to be.
But we are getting... They've announced Buzzsaw Hordak as a deluxe, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So... If we were going to get... Now, is that the Imp? Or that's a different thing?
Yeah, that's Imp. Or it's supposed to be...
Okay.
Imp.
So if we've got an Imp as a different piece, that might have been more than this. Like, we might have had to call this a deluxe figure and throw in, like, an alternate head or something. Like, it might not have... It might realistically not have been in the budget.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Joe,
the rest of him's great.
What are your thoughts on the crossbows?
So, the crossbow, by today's standards, I think looks really cheap. Painted a different color, put, like, a cool design on it, something... put that little Horde brand on it, but I'm like, it's one of those things where it's like, but that's what he came with in 1985. So
I didn't.
What are your thoughts, Dave, on that?
I didn't need it to do what it does,
which is
nothing. It's like that won't even do it. It's supposed to. You press that and it
slightly moves.
It's like a battering ram. More so than a crossbow.
Yeah.
I would rather have a cool looking weapon than, again, as you said, it's a little too slavish to what the original was.
I also feel, even in classics, that the Horde crossbows, giving every Horde character a big, giant...
Yeah.
And those had lots of paint, and had all sorts of stuff.
They looked great.
But I still didn't want them.
Yeah,
they were like the Snake Man styles. Like, I just don't need another. I don't pose any of my Horde figures with their crossbows.
I think most of mine have them. But
what about you?
Here's
Do you pose your classics with the crossbows?
I don't. I actually don't have any classics.
Oh well.
It was one of those things where when classics came out, I wasn't in a position financially to get in.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I dipped my toes in the water, I would have been a complete.
It is a big commitment.
And, and even at that time, I didn't realize how long the line would go on or how many characters would be made. So looking back, I made the right decision for the time. But now looking at it, where I'm like, ooh, so many of these are so cool. And then it's like, oh, you want a Scare Glow? Well, that's $350.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I got to go see it.
Which is why I wouldn't have a problem with Masterverse kind of doing that again. Because I know there are so many people who, for whatever reason, didn't get into classics. And I'd love for those people to be able to get those characters in a collector-style toy.
That's affordable.
These are great.
Yeah.
But that's a different level of, we're all grown-ups now. We collect what we collect. And if Masterverse wants to revisit what classics did I'm okay with that.
As long as they don't do anything that lessens the appeal or the value of the classics.
Yeah.
Like they doesn't become a straight on re-release.
I don't want like the classics Leech tooling in a Masterverse box.
Correct.
Like, don't do that.
No.
But if you want to do a Masterverse version of Leech,
yes,
go for it.
100%.
I'm down with that.
100%. Because my thing now is like Super 7 is re-releasing all these figures that they said it was, made to order, and then we're done. Whether that was Ninja Turtles, Thundercats, and whatever else, and they keep. Oh, now we're gonna re-release all the Turtles, and now we're gonna re-release Lion-O and re-release Mumra, and it's like, yo, then why did I pre-order them in the first place if they're not even variants? They're the identical figures in identical packaging. Like
that, I don't. Well, my toy philosophy is whether or not somebody else has a figure, that doesn't affect my enjoyment of it at all. I want everybody who wants those Super 7 Turtles, Thundercats, or whatever to be able to get them. I don't care. I got them because I wanted them. I didn't get them because I thought other people wouldn't be able to get them. They're up on my shelf now, and other people having them is not going to affect my enjoyment of them. I don't care about that. But classics, it's its own thing. It's kind of done.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm not concerned about somebody getting the same Leech that I've got, but I don't feel like you can put a different name on it and release the same toys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think they would re-release classics.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I think anything that comes out of Masterverse is going to come from.
It's going to be this double jointed knee and elbow style.
They're
going to look.
Well, it's going to come from something. It's just like the first wave is the show. I think any Masterverse figures that aren't from the new show are going to be from
some
something.
media.
Yeah.
We will find out.
Ninjor.
So he looks awesome, but let me tell you what made me absolutely delighted. Look at the chain on those nunchucks.
It's cool.
You just don't see that in toys.
The vintage one did it.
You get, well, right, but in the last 30 years,
no.
You get this.
Yes.
That's a solid piece, or you get like a string. But this actual chain links, well, plastic chain links, that's beautiful.
What would have, not that they've done any of this type of accessories yet, but how would you have felt like that Michelangelo over there who's got the spinning nunchuck that looks like it's in motion, but it's static? What would you have thought about something like that for this?
I prefer this.
Yeah.
Like if I have, because that one has both.
Yeah.
It came with like 4 different nunchucks.
Right.
Nunchucks.
Nunchucko.
But yeah, if I have to choose, I want this every time. Because this is more options. This is, if you want it to spin around, you spin it around. Because this is a toy.
It's a toy.
It's for a kid to play with.
Joe, how do you feel about the plastic gi?
Oh,
I actually like it a lot. This is another figure where I'm not a Ninjor fan, and quite frankly, I don't know anyone who is. So like, having him this early in the line felt a little weird to me when I feel like there's so many other characters. But then at the same time, like you said, bringing up, putting kind of diversity at the forefront. That this will be a integral part of this universe going forward, and then also, using a guy like Ninjor now while being able to save someone else of a higher name value for a later line to keep brand recognition going forward. You still got a Hordak in this line, and he's a big name. So
this wave, and even looking at just character release based on tooling. Everything on Ninjor is reuse except the head and the gi, because this is all just Skeletor, right?
Yeah. And also, I liked his back that they were able to basically give you that weapon storage. I love weapon storage on figures.
Yes.
He's like the Man-at-Arms, the Classics Man-at-Arms, where he's got like 4
All of his
weapons,
gear
and everything
fits.
fits. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Grizzlor, the Grizzlor that had
Yeah.
12 weapons or something that came from the Staction.
So yeah,
I like him a lot.
I think he's better than the original.
Yeah, I'd have to
So
say
we're-
so.
All right.
But how do you feel about the difference between Shira having soft goods? Because originally Ninjor's action feature was basically soft goods.
Yeah,
I don't care at all about him having soft goods.
Okay.
I'm not like a soft goods enthusiast by any means. Where if it's there, as long as it works, it works. With this Ninja figure, I feel like the plastic gi as it is now, the vinyl gi, works fine. So it's
It works great.
like I'm
and
good
it gives
with
you the ability to put the weapons on the back.
Yeah. Yeah, soft goods wouldn't have
They
had
wouldn't
that.
have been able to do that. Yeah.
All right. Another guy that I did have when I was a kid that I love, Triclops.
Cyclops.
I think he looks perfect. His feature works
Disguiser
like
works.
it's supposed to. He does everything, and he's He-Man with different armor and a different head.
Yep.
And storage for his sword, which
He
the
gets
original
storage.
actually did have.
Yes.
And his unique sword, too. That was my favorite sword in the entire line.
Well, it's not neat. Fisto has it too. It's also Fisto's.
I didn't have a Fisto when I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
And I think Triclops had it first.
Yes, Triclops had it.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like we're seeing sort of a pattern of Waves having 2 figures that are pretty basic and don't require a lot of new stuff. Triclops, Stratos, Merman, Zodak, and then they're sort of spending that tooling budget on the other 2 figures.
Mattel's been doing this a long
Yeah.
time. Now, you mentioned Stratos.
Yes.
We got to get to Stratos. I did not go to the trouble of putting him back at his original gear because it's a pain.
It's also inferior gear.
This
Vastly inferior
Stratos
This the
is
perfect
actually
Stratos.
wearing the gear from the Rey Mysterio WWE figure.
Oh.
Which is far superior.
This is what Stratos came with. If you want to compare
Rey Mysterio out Stratos.
these little tiny wings versus these glorious, full, powerful wings. And then this little
And a tiny little backpack.
Why
They had it! And they had it!
Right. Why did they change these things? So this is what came on Stratos, and this is what came on Mysterio.
And this is what came on Mysterio from the classic Stratos.
Oh, is that's
Yeah.
the same thing?
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure.
So-
my Stratos is still mint in the package. I haven't opened it quite yet, and now I'm just looking at it through the bubble, and I'm like, this is disgraceful.
His
puny.
wings are
It's puny.
preposterous.
It's puny.
Like
Yeah.
this
me look
backpack
at
feels like he
classic
stole it
Stratos.
from a preschooler.
Don't.
Like,
I'll
Don't
look.
do it.
I'll look.
Okay.
Maybe they did it so they'd make you buy the Rey Mysterio.
I don't know.
Mysterio came out way before Stratos.
Because this is a money thing. Like, Mattel, as I said, they've been doing this for a long time, and I don't want to call them cheap, but they're cheap. So if you've got this, why make new inferior versions? Now, one of you guys may be able to answer this. Were the vintage Stratos wings really tiny like this?
It is the classics wings and back.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So here's a vintage Stratos. I don't know. These wings look kind of glorious.
They're definitely bigger than this. Because, I mean, these barely even make it up to their shoulders.
Yeah.
Even his backpack
Is bigger.
is bigger and
Oh, yeah, it doesn't look the same.
More proportionate than that tiny one that's packaged.
That's
with the
wild.
original figure.
So, yeah, Stratos needs an upgrade. And as far as I know, Mysterio's not at retail anymore.
Yeah, I need one.
No.
So, yeah, that's wild. All right. I think it's time for the main event.
Oh, baby.
Yes, it is time. Beau, are you ready?
My body.
Let me make some room here.
Although I think my headphone battery is dying.
Well, we'll wrap it up as soon as possible. Why don't you move that Origins box and slide your phone over a little bit? It is time now to embrace.
Oh, I haven't touched it yet.
It's nice.
Oh, I just lost my headphones.
Uh-oh.
So I can't hear anything.
Well, we'll make do.
Okay.
I'm going to try and figure out how to get this camera in the right spot amongst He-Man toys.
There you go.
We're a little crooked. That's better.
What a beauty.
Oh, it is absolutely incredible. And this was something that I really didn't feel like I needed, because I've got the Classics Grayskull.
Yeah.
There's a little butt in the.
But.
Huh? Okay.
Butt in the camera.
Whose butt? Satisfying.
Oh, Battle Cat's butt.
Battle Cat's kitty bottom.
Okay.
Da-da-da.
So we have
like pops.
The Jawbridge is brown with deco. It's not like the original castle where it's the same color as the castle. Got all the teeth and everything here. I love the sculpt. I think it looks fantastic.
And it like really, it like pops open, doesn't it? Oh no, it doesn't pop. Okay, interesting. Okay, I thought it like sprung out.
Oh no
for some reason. But beautiful sculpt.
I like the stone detail. Let me see if let me get Battle Cat out of the way here. So if you look, you can see actually part in the plastic is this speckling. It's throughout the whole thing. And then the painted detail with the black here is a lot more focused than it was on the original vintage.
Yeah.
It's similar in a lot of ways to the Classics Grayskull.
I mean, Grayskull is so iconic that you can't take it too far out of the box. You know what I mean?
Closed.
Yeah.
Better paint on here, not just the sort of like half-ass sort of.
Now the door, unlike the Classics, this is not a door, which is fine.
No secret doors. Yeah.
And we've got on the side, we've got these little hooks
from the
that latch it shut,
which the vintage didn't have. Behold.
And we have
the ladder
that has a couple of different spots.
Oh, and it actually fits into the base. That's interesting. That's new.
Got the weapons rack.
Ooh, and this actually pulls up.
We have the additional weapons rack. And the training arm.
It's beefier. It's
beefier and it moves better.
Yeah.
Wow.
These
are terrible. It's a terrible color for weapons, though. Yeah, who makes a flesh-colored gun?
I would prefer if they were like silver.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird sort of like fleshy color. I mean, this is new.
Yeah, I didn't know where this even came from.
It was a cardboard in the vintage. But the throne looks exactly the same. The flag's a little small.
The flag's a little small, but check this out.
Oh yeah, the hanging fabric.
The soft
banners.
goods or fabric banners.
Yeah, those are cool.
And then our sorceress figure.
Temple of Darkness
Sorceress.
Before we get a real sorceress.
Nice white.
Before we get regular sorceress. And translucent wings.
Great looking translucent wings. You can see the full review of this on the Needless Things YouTube channel. We're just going to kind of run it down here. And this is the first time Beau's seen this in person.
Yeah.
Joe, have you opened yours up yet?
So I haven't opened mine because I did get one. And I love it's another one of these cases. I love the packaging so much that now I feel like I need another one to open because I feel like I have to keep one in the box.
My box is still over there.
It's
because I can't throw it out.
Because the art's so good.
And then we've got our trapdoor. Let's put Trapjaw
in the trapdoor.
On the trapdoor. I don't know where his other arm is, but it's okay. You don't need two arms to fall through a trapdoor. Look how surprised he looks.
What? Oh, so satisfying.
And the way this mechanism works, it's got a little slide right there that holds it in place.
And there's the dungeon grate, huh? Which is a different sticker.
Let me show you.
It's a new sticker.
I don't know if the lighting will really show you, but my upside down dungeon grate sticker.
And you can feel the ridge where the piece is going to go.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's great that they were able to be like, hey, here's stuff we had to cut from the castle that we really wanted to make it hit the price point for retail, and giving those extra pieces out in an exclusive is the way to go.
Oh, and a cool thing to note
pegs,
here, foot pegs, so you can place figures around the set.
Cool.
And it's got that computer terminal. That's where the...
Yeah, a lot more detail. The painted detail is really nice on both of the computer terminals.
And the floor has a sort of texture too. That's interesting.
It's almost got like
stones,
sort of steps or not flagstones, but.
And that the elevator actually pulls instead of just being was like ratcheted, kind of would just fit where you put it.
So, Joe, looking at this, as soon as we finish up, are you going to go open yours?
I'm trying to wait. I'm trying to wait until I get my second one. That way I can.
And does it look like it's built to support Point Dread? Probably.
So I saw Pixel Dan's unboxing where
I think it's that lip right there, right? Maybe?
He put his classics Point Dread on it, and it said it fit just fine.
Really?
I believe so. I believe that was Pixel Dan who did that.
But I mean.
What did he say? I don't hear anything.
Oh right. He said Pixel Dan put his Point Dread on it.
It fits the old one. It fits the vintage Point Dread, not the classics.
Oh, right, okay.
But which means they could theoretically release a Point Dread that is this size.
Yeah. I would imagine they would.
Let's see.
It's awesome. I'm so happy to have this, even though I've got the classics, even though I've got my Halloween version of the
So what's the plan
vintage.
for this? Where does this go?
What I'm probably going to have to do
you have double castle
is take that Masters of the Universe Masters of WWE ring. It's probably getting boxed up, and this is going to go down there.
Okay. Did you see the stacker, the guy that stacked all the rings?
Yeah.
That's cool that they fit like that.
All right, so to wrap things up,
yes,
there's a cool thing you can do with this Castle Grayskull too that I was turned on to. If you use your WWE Mo2 ring and kind of fit your Grayskull around it, you almost have like an arena playset for your Grayskull Mania ring.
Oh yeah, you can kind of put.
You can caddy corner the Grayskull around the ring. Yeah,
that doesn't move at all.
Well, whatever. She's a bird lady.
Well, it's
she's not an owl.
No. Oh, and these fold down. That's
so Joe. Final thoughts. Wrap up. Where are you with this line? What's your excitement level?
I mean, from where I started to where I am now is a complete 180, night and day. Like I said, I wasn't interested in this at the beginning, and then like the enjoyment of being able to see these figures at retail after God knows how many years, and then actually holding them and being able to play with them and seeing how they can still affect little kids. Like I said, my nephew just got a bunch of them and he's all about it now. So it's cool to see that. It makes me enjoy it more because I know it's something I'll be able to share with younger members of my family. And for the figures we still haven't even gotten yet, like one of my favorite characters in the original Mo2 line is Cyclone. And we haven't heard or seen anything about a Cyclone figure yet. And I know he pops up in basically every iteration, so at some point I'm going to be happy to have my blue and yellow Cyclone figure, pop that on the wall. That one I'll probably have to get an extra one, to keep one together. But like Beau was saying before, get us a slime pit, get us a fright zone, give me some more play sets. At some point we're going to have a Snake Mountain. And
it kind of has to happen. Although, honestly, I'd want to see a Fright Zone before I see a Snake Mountain.
I would too.
I agree.
Give me something
For
on
the
a
same
smaller
reason
scale.
that I want.
You know,
other stuff
something
that I
a little
haven't got
different. We just got the most incredible Snake
I'll take
Mountain
that
that'll
one.
probably ever exist anyway. So, but give it to me at some point. You know, like give me all these cool things that we haven't seen new versions of in a long time. You know, because like we were saying, all three of us marked out hard over that land shark, and it's not like
so good.
It's not like the land shark is like this pivotal item of the Masters line.
No.
So the fact that we, like all three of us, are talking about how freaking cool this land shark is, shows you like, you know, hey, like if they could continue to do stuff like that and give us that kind of offbeat item with the new school touch, like there's so many possibilities for this line.
Well, I'm stoked. I can't wait for. There's still a ton of stuff coming from Big Bad. Whenever I don't have Clamp Champ yet.
No,
Do you guys do you have Clamp Champ?
Mine hasn't shown up yet.
Okay, yeah, I think he's maybe a little. He might be stuck on one of those ships that sunk to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
But whatever the case, this line's very exciting. It's fun because as much as we do have the stuff pre-ordered from Big Bad, you can walk into stores and see it on the shelves.
It just feels good to see it there, you know.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope that I have. I mean, not that haven't pre-ordered most of the stuff now, and so I'm not as much going to the stores, but like, it would be great to have that moment where you're in that aisle with a kid, somebody else's kid, and just be like, He-Man stuff's pretty cool, you know, and to like see a kid pick up a He-Man toy in a store for the first time would be something special, I think. Really,
and it's possible with this line.
Yeah.
Well, everybody watching at home, thank you so much for hanging out with us, talking about Masters of the Universe. Before we go, one more time, Joe, why don't you put over that YouTube channel? Where can we find you on Instagram?
Yeah, just Instagram and Twitter at @TheJoeShoes and YouTube.com/JoeShoes. And if you're a Major Wrestling Figure podcast fan, general admission tickets are still available for Live 8 in Baltimore, Maryland.
Tell us about what you're doing.
I will be taking on the Seafood UFO sandwich at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. It is a 7-pound seafood sandwich featuring a pound of crab cakes, 12 jumbo shrimp, 12 shucked and fried oysters, a pound of shrimp salad, lettuce and tomato on their signature UFO bun, which basically looks like a car's hubcap. And I have 60 minutes to either eat this sandwich or die trying. And if you know anything about me, it's that I would definitely die for this.
Is it only 60 minutes? I thought it was 90.
No, it's only 60.
Oh, gosh. If I was not working that weekend, I would be there. I feel the need to support you in this endeavor.
It's funny how many people have been coming out and saying like, yo, like I'm dying to come see you do this. And I'm like, you know, there's like a real show happening as this is going on. Like, but like people...
Look, Matt and Brian are very entertaining, but watching you eat that much seafood, money can't buy that kind of thing.
And you get to do it while watching a show with special guests and obviously the ringside giveaway that they always do, and you know, get your major merch, you know, for coming in the door, and these shows are always great. I give the guys a lot of credit because they do work very hard on putting together the best shows possible. So
well, I hope they make it to the southeastern area at some point.
I think at some point you're going to see a little bit more expansion on the schedule. This was something that came up simply because Jimmy's wanted to put together this mega podcast weekend at their place, so that was why this kind of came up out of nowhere.
They've also got the Good Brothers, and then they've got Jeff Jarrett and Conrad.
Yeah, so it's a whole weekend, podcast Palooza they're calling it, and we're down to just general admission tickets. So I believe they're $40, and you can get them at I believe it's just majorwfpod.com. So if you're interested in that, come on down to Baltimore, and hey, the food is great. So come see a wrestling podcast show, come see me eat a sandwich, and come enjoy your own crab cakes because this food is unbelievable. And I'm not even the biggest of seafood fans, but I love Jimmy's. Just absolutely phenomenal.
Well, Joe, thanks for coming on and talking He-Man with us.
Thanks,
and we'll be doing it again sooner than later.
It's my
Thanks
pleasure.
a lot, everybody.
Anytime.
Good journey.
good journey.